Going live.
Going.
Hello, everybody.
Not yet. It's actually we're still on a delay.
Hello.
There you go. Now it says it's live.
Now we're good. Okay. Yeah, I'm still learning the delay.
There we go. Now we're on.
It's also not. There's the view.
I got the notification from YouTube saying you went live.
All right. Very cool. Let me bring up the old chatter. All right. Hello, YouTubes and gunchannels.com. We are simulcasting on gunchannels.com on this special edition of, well, it's not the closer because it's not Sunday. It's not the opener because we're not the first show. It's the something
Dumpster Fire 2.0.
Yeah. Welcome to the something or other. This is the GIZZARDTHON 2019. If you go over there in the text chat, you'll see my first statement. Ozzy was first, and I was right behind him there. It says, the rule of GIZZARDTHON. You got to be subbed to Gizzard Gary to watch tonight's show. If you're not subbed to Gizzard Gary, GTFO.
I'm not. Hey, I've got 3 accounts subbed to him, so that's where, I've earned my spot.
Beat it. Hit the bricks. Go kick rocks. Go pound sand. Go eat a bag of dicks. Beat it. So that's the rules of GIZZARDTHON 2019. Gotta be subbed to Gizzard. We got a couple other guys that jumped out. They'll be back. I think Night Strike left. I think he's gonna pop back in. And Sarge was here, and he had to go to work. It's time to make the donuts. He'll be back. Dunsnod says, "Who's this Gizzard you speak of?" Just some guy, just a guy. I just heard about him. So basically, just nobody was live. Nobody was set to go live. Matt was done with his nerdapalooza. So I figured, what the hell? Let's go live for an hour or so, talk about some current events or whatnot. 2 weeks ago, we also talked about some knives. His old Mr. Pickle over here is thinking about getting some knives, so he wasn't able to join then. So if that,
I was up on the mountain. I was up on the mountain looking for deer and bear, shooting
at the Yogi Bears is. So I figured, what the hell? Let's we can talk about that too a little bit and see if he's come to a decision. So Pickle, what's going on, buddy? Say hello, and then we'll see who's out there in the chat. What's up? How you doing?
I was going all right. When you said you were going to be doing a short live tonight, I figured, jumping in would be kind of fun. Do appreciate the information that you put out 2 weeks ago about the knives. I have not yet picked up a new set. Need to sit down with the fiance and figure out exactly what we want. But that's right. Was showing her what you were showing us on the chat, just so she has some information as well. I think her heart's set on the Pioneer Woman set, but
yeah. And we're now that you're live too, we can pull up Amazon and look at a couple things, and we'll see. I mean, it's just fun to bullshit about and see what's out there. So, and there's some really good prices on Amazon for sure. Glimtech, what's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Oh, not too bad. How about yourself? Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is what it is,
Night Strike is back.
Well, you were saying about bear, and yesterday when I was at my steel match, my doctor came over and showed me a nice picture of a nice 400-pound bear that he got.
Right.
Where's that? Yeah, that's a lot bigger than the one I got. I think mine was probably about 150 on the paw.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They have bears they got there in Arizona?
Yeah, they got some big ass bears out here. And I'm like, and I said to him, he's a ex-military guy, and he's pretty fit. And I said, it kind of sucked. He had to pack all that out and carry that out. He goes, no. He goes, I had 2 guys with me. They packed it all out for me. I'm like, cool. Okay, there you go.
Nice to have a couple gophers.
Yeah, that's where I cheated with mine. I only had to drag it about 200 yards uphill, and then loaded it onto a carry rack that goes on the in the trailer hitch of my Jeep, and then I drove it the rest of the way home.
Well, those guys had quads, so they packed it out, put it on the quad, and drove it out.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
what we
the thing
got.
was right. See, he said the thing was right on the road. And, they were cruising down the road, and they saw it. So everybody quick bailed out of the truck, hopped on the quads, and basically ran it down.
Those things are
the way
tough
to do it.
SOBs. That 150 pounder I brought down, it took 2 308 rounds and 2 270 rounds at less than 100 yards, to finally bring it down.
Well, I was actually impressed with his shot because he did it was about, I think they said it was about 100, 110, 115 yard headshot. Took it down, bam, boom, that was it, and dropped it. Like,
That'll
wow,
do it.
That's pretty impressive.
That is. Especially, what breed of bear do you guys have down there? Any idea?
Well, it was big and it was black, so I'm going to assume it's probably a black bear.
Whoa.
But other than
Probably
that,
a fair assumption.
Yeah, as I say, yeah, it wasn't brown; it was black. So I'm assuming it was a black bear. I don't.
Well, that's your black bear can be anywhere from jet black all the way up to almost a grizzly brown. So that's where they vary in color depending on their surroundings.
Maybe the food too. So
I'm sure that
all
plays
right.
into it.
Yeah. Night Strike, what's going on, buddy guy?
Oh, I'm still in here. Oh, hey, how's it going?
Well, you left and you came back.
Well, yeah, I said I had to go. I had to restart, so I was going to restart my computer. So,
Yeah, no problem.
So anyway, so real quick. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm working on stuff in the background, not necessarily gun tube stuff, but stuff on the background.
Yeah, no problem.
Because have they reinstated Mac's Instagram account?
Not that I know of.
Not that I've heard of.
That gives Night Strike an idea.
What was the post
And
that
I'm
you
working
got
on that idea right now.
hammered for anyway? I don't even know what it was.
Last I heard, he wasn't even notified that there was an issue. He just went to get on, and his primary account was just gone. That's right. He's still posting on his backup account, but
yeah, I saw that. Okay, and
he still wasn't. He still hasn't been notified.
Yeah. Gizzard, what's happening, buddy?
But anyway, here in Arizona, real quick, here in Arizona, it's actually black bear season right now. And yes, it was a black bear, and it was a male.
Jeez, 400 pounds, you said?
Yeah, from what I'm reading here, the average males go from 115 to 600 pounds. Females go from 90 to 400.
Man, I just
that sounds
never would have
about
thought
right.
out there they'd be that big.
Well, like I said, depending on where you go, they're pretty much well untouched. They have ample food.
You catch a couple of those. You catch a couple of those downtown eating out of the, eating Big Macs at McDonald's dumpsters and stuff. They probably get pretty big.
Yeah, that's true. What part of Arizona are you in there, Glimtech?
I'm outside of Phoenix. He was actually up in the Sholo area, which is roughly about a 2.5 hour ride from here.
I used to have a house up there.
Okay, so northern part of the state, my guess.
Yeah. Yep. Well, yeah.
You gotta remember, I'm a California boy. I don't know Arizona worth the darn.
Oh, I do.
Okay.
I used to be all over that area.
Yeah.
When I was younger, my family had a lake house over in Snowflake.
Snowflake.
There you go.
Right,
Snowflake.
Right next to
Snowflake,
Sholo.
Arizona, which has already gotten over 9 inches of snow this year already. And this is only October.
That was the only place in Arizona besides, further north that it was snow.
Well, like I said, they shut down the northern rim of the Grand Canyon, which will probably be getting shut down here, I think, at the end of this month.
Probably.
but they shut down the main highway from the northern end of the Grand Canyon from the end of October until almost May because of snow.
And Glen
That's
Tech, I
for
was in Arizona.
I-40
Where
going
were
across.
you?
That stays open, right?
Yeah, I was on my way down there, and my truck broke down when I was coming down because I was actually coming down to Phoenix to see you guys.
Oh,
Yeah, I got to the mountain, and it was like, oh man, I was not a happy camper with it when that happened.
That's where Glimtex. Since you're familiar with the area, that's where I think it's I-40 that goes, from
Yes.
California all the way out through up all the way up into all the way up into Oklahoma. That's where that stays open all winter, right?
I believe it's. Hang on here a second. I think 40 stays open, but there's a section of I want to say 9. I don't know. Hang on here a second. I can find out in a minute.
The reason why I'm asking is that's the route I was planning on taking for Tulsa, so that's where. But I didn't want to, because the main route it wanted to take me was 80 up through the Sierra Nevadas, across the Rockies, and then down. And I figured that northern route probably wouldn't be a good idea in November.
Probably not. That would probably be a pretty good guess.
Mr.
Yeah,
Gizzard,
since this
what's
is
happening, buddy?
I was gonna say, since this is the kind of the Gizzard chat. Curious, Gizzard, how many subs do you have now? Because they were trying to get you to 1,000.
606.
606. Well, I'll say it. I said it at the beginning there. I'll say it now. If you're watching this and you're not subbed to Gizzard, beat it. Get lost. Kick rocks. Go pound sand. Gotta be subbed to Gizzard to watch the chat tonight. It's the GIZZARDTHON.
We're gonna have to have a sequel to the GIZZARDTHON tomorrow.
Yeah, there you go. I think you should do that. I think that should be a thing this whole week. If you when you open your show up, you got to make the announcement. If you're not subbed to Gizzard, not allowed to watch. Get the hell out. So anyhow, Giz, what's going on? How's it going? What's new?
Well, it's going all right. I had to work today, which sucked. Other than that, not a whole lot. Got up, went to work, come home, got on the computer, and all of a sudden this thing fired up. Surprised.
Yeah. I just figured nobody else does, unless G goes live or something like that. And it didn't seem like he didn't have anything scheduled. Nobody goes after Matt since Ellis is AWOL. So figured what the hell. I was home. We'll throw a little chat together and go over some things on Gun Feed, a couple of articles, and talk about some knives here. So we will do some knives here first. Let me do some screen sharing. Wait, I forget how to screen share. How do I screen share again?
The bottom left corner, right next to the hand. It's the screen.
Yep.
It's the screen. I'm not trying to talk down to you, but it's a screen.
Seen it. I know I had it earlier and I couldn't remember. I thought it was under the dots.
No, the dots are the other thing.
Dead Horse says, I sent you a video showing Skynet messing with your algorithms on YouTube. There you go.
I don't know what's going on with Al Gore, but I think he's getting up there in age, and he's
I don't know about that guy.
He's a little funky now.
All right. Are you guys seeing my screen here?
Yep.
All right.
So is this the chef's knife set you want?
This is not for me. Pickle and his old lady are looking for a set of knives for the house. So we talked about it a couple weeks ago, but he wasn't able to be on the show. So I figured we'd talk about it here for a couple minutes, and then hopefully Sarge will pop back in and we can talk some current events, because I know one of them we were talking about before the show here a little bit. He was interested in talking about. So it's just a little time filler here. So this is a Henkel set. We talked about this is like $90, a little under $90, which is pretty inexpensive. And you're getting a 3-inch paring knife, 5-inch serrated utility, 7-inch Santoku hollow edge. That has the Granton edge or the hollowed edge. That's really nice. We talked about that the other week. It comes with a second chef's knife and a bread knife, and then 6 4.5-inch steak knives. This is the one that I kind of recommended. I thought would be a good way to go, because you wanted the steak knives, and it's got a couple chef's knives. It's got a small serrated and a bread knife. It's got the steel on the block with it. I think this is a win-win.
And it's got scissors.
Yeah, that one does have scissors, and then there's a 12-piece too. So you cook the 12-piece, and it's a little bit less even. But
And you don't get scissors.
Right. If you want the shears, and they're a little bit different. It's actually the steak knives are a little different when you go back and forth. But yeah, honestly, the scissors.
I like the look of that stuff.
Yeah. The scissors are probably a little bit nicer than what you might have laying around the house. So I'm not sure. I mean, who knows? But I mean, they're definitely going to be a little bit better than what you got kicking around in a drawer or whatever. But what's really interesting is, Amazon always recommends stuff. So that one night, or the night before we were talking about it, I started looking at some of the other stuff that was down here, and there was a couple of them that popped up that I thought were really nice looking too. And I really like the look of these.
Those are pretty.
Yeah, they're really nice. It's almost like a rosewood. Now it's a ESMK, whatever the heck that is. I mean, who knows? You know what I mean?
Okay, that's what those have that, that thick portion right at the back of the cutting edge. You're suggesting to stay away from that design, correct?
Right. Like that's the one thing I was going to say is it makes it a little bit harder to. Yeah, like that portion right there. I'm like pointing at my screen like an idiot. They're right there, yeah, that for me personally tends to give you a little bit of a pain in the butt. Now you're, if you have, if you're the kind of person that doesn't mind doing, some homework and stuff like that, you could take that off yourself with a little Dremel and zip that off and be good to go. But so visually, I thought those were really pretty, but yeah, that was the one thing that I didn't like about them. And
and that's why I was.
Go ahead.
That's one reason why I asked you. You have more experience with this than I do, so that's why when someone has experience and skill and can teach you a few things, that's where you go to ask your questions. That's where I like that, because that's where the full tang. That's where we actually not too long ago snapped one of our chef's knives.
Oh, yeah.
When I was looking at it. It wasn't a full tang. So the blade came out of the handle and it broke as it did so. So that's why we're looking for a replacement set. And that's the one thing I did know about knives is a full tang tends to be stronger because it's a continuous piece of metal all the way through.
Well, I'll tell you what, 99% of the time, the home cook's not going to notice it. But you being a hunter and stuff, like if you get, you get a deer and you decide you want to take the ribs out and actually use the ribs, and you want to trim those ribs with a chef's knife, and you come down on a rib, and you can snap that tang right through the handle, right? Pretty quick if you're starting to chop at some rib bones and stuff, even smaller ones like on a deer. So yeah, these are the ones that these is what I would go with for sure, especially under $90. And I think you said $150 was your budget.
Was our cap? Yeah, that's where if we can get a good set for under three figures, that's good for me.
Hell yeah, yeah. So that's what I would
take that extra money and put it into a nice set, a nice full-size whetstone, because I have not Gatco, I can't remember what the brand is, but it's a degree sharpener that I use on a lot of my knives. But for the really nice knife set like that, I'd want to have a dedicated stone so that way it stays clean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nice. I mean, if you're comfortable using a stone, I'll tell you what, man, you can get a gnarly blade, a gnarly edge on a blade with a stone if you're willing to take the time on it, and just take it on a stone once or twice. Every couple of times you just take it back on the stone, man. You can get them so nice and sharp.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know much about chef steels, and I have a basic understanding of them, but that's where I learned how to sharpen knives, anything from your small pocket knife all the way up to your bigger knives. I learned how to sharpen them on a stone when I was probably 13, so that would definitely be the way I'd go.
Yeah.
And as for a good knife, it'll, like one of the knives I was using on that bear, it was a skinning blade that I actually bought off a budget. Fantastic little knife. The only issue I ran into with it's a 01 tool steel. So it takes a really nice edge and it's durable, so it won't break. It just doesn't hold the edge as well as a high carbon would.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you, here's a. This is one of the other ones that I found. I went down this chef's knife again, like that. You can see how the back of the knife isn't. The bolster doesn't come all the way to the end. You could sharpen that really nice, and it's not gonna get that little bump in it. These are really pretty too.
Yeah, they are. Is there any that's on that type of you said the exact name for it, but more or less the vegetable grind that one has? Is there anything special that you have to do for sharpening that particular design of knife, or is that your standard standard stone work on that what would work as long as I don't grind it past those?
Well, even if you do, it's not going to hurt. I had a Dexter Russell that had that, and I had it for a couple of years and used it every day for a couple of years. And I actually had it sharpened all the way down to where it was actually past the tip of the scallops there, the little grinds. Looked weird because it almost looked like it was a serrated knife then, but it wasn't. But yeah, these I thought were really nice. These look pretty nice too. Serrated utility, 8 scissors, Santoku sharpener, German steel, which whatever. I don't put a whole lot of weight in where the steel comes from.
Germans have been
most
making things for
as
years.
long as it's a good modern high carbon alloy, you're good to go usually.
Yeah, German and Japanese steel is pretty amazing too. So I think it's more what you that you get a good one, not so much where it's from. These guys have an unlimited lifetime warranty too, which is pretty good. They will never dull, blunt, or corrode, tarnish, or rust, which that's a little bit weird that they say they will never dull. It's a little bit odd, but visually those are pretty nice. I actually like the handle of that better. It's really super, it's kind of swoopy, real ergonomic looking.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to have to look at that set.
Yeah, look at those two, I would say. I don't know, maybe you could find some more pictures of them or something. It's really weird they're not showing a whole lot of pictures of the individual. They're not showing pictures. They used to be able to find individual pictures of all the knives. Like they would just go through each one almost. And they're not doing that anymore. I don't know if oh wait, here we go. Yeah, full tang. Oh, that's a pretty sharp looking knife. Ooh, look at that. You can cut up your chicken. You can cut up chicken or peppers. Oh man, that's crazy. I'll tell you what, the more I look at this, the more I like these. These are they really look comfortable. I wonder if they're made by somebody else.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Like
there you go. That shows a nice diagram and everything.
Yeah. This is a lot more stuff than you'd need for sure. Which it makes me a little bit leery because it's pretty inexpensive. That's a whole lot of cutlery for not a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
What they're calling a bread knife is not a bread knife either. Oh, no, they have two. There's an 8-inch bread knife, which is fine. And down here, they have a utility blade. I'll tell you what, that little serrated utility blade, the 5-inch, they're nice to have. I used to have one of those by Henkel. Man, I used it. I used the hell out of that thing, too. It was really great for, tomatoes and stuff. Small.
Yeah.
No. All right, we'll knock this off and go back here. Where the hell's Sarge at? Son of a bitch. All right, so
anyway,
I got the gun feed.
He's
pulled
probably
up,
writing a report.
probably. I got the gun feed pulled up because there was a couple of articles that. No, that's okay. There's a couple articles I wanted to. We could take a look at. What were you gonna say?
Let me finish off Cal's question real quick about his travels here.
Oh yeah.
So apparently I-40, they will maintain that year round. It is
Okay, cool.
Highway 67 that is they kind of stopped doing anything after October 16th. And usually the DOT will usually shut it down at first snowfall, and then that will remain down until May the 1st, unless it's, of course, it melts off before then.
Okay,
But
yeah,
the Northern
that's
Rim 67.
The route I'm looking to take
Yep.
is down through, I don't know if any of these names are going to mean anything to you, basically, Bakersfield, cut across through Tehachapi, out. Basically, it's going to take me out through Phoenix, if I remember correctly, and I think it's I-40 takes me all the way out, into the upper panhandle of Texas, and then I had turn kind of northeast, takes me up into Oklahoma. So I believe that's the route I'm taking roughly. So
Yeah,
it
no,
sounds like it all should stay open.
Yeah, you're fine because you're going to hit the upper end. You're going to hit the upper end of Phoenix, up towards Flagstaff, up that neck of the woods. So yeah, you'll be fine up through there because they maintain it all the way through. And you're coming November, so you'll probably be all right yet in November. Usually, December is when it starts getting a little flaky.
And that's where I'm driving a vehicle. If we get a little bit of light snow, I'm not too worried about because I'm driving my Jeep Wrangler out there. So.
Oh, okay. The one thing you can always count on. The nice thing about Arizona and mostly at most of Arizona, you'll get snow from 10 o'clock at night till 6 o'clock in the morning. You'll get 8 inches of snow, and then by noontime the following day, it's all gone.
Perfect.
But ADOT's pretty good out here. They take care of this stuff out here pretty quick.
Well, that's it's gonna be refreshing actually being out of California, getting away from the sky high fuel prices and the roads that they supposed to maintain but don't.
Oh yeah, because then you'll go through states where they don't maintain the roads at all. Congratulations.
Yeah.
At least you get some road maintenance there, unlike AZ.
Yeah, but New Mexico, no.
Well, that's where our governor just signed an executive order last week to pull a good chunk of the new road tax money that they just voted in late last year, and we're going to take a good chunk of this and use it for to fight climate change instead of for the roads like we advertise it as. So that's a different topic.
Welcome to California.
And didn't they also sign 15? It shall not be infringed laws.
Yes, they did.
Yes, and one of them it's no more gun shows at a particular county's fairgrounds, which I'm pretty sure earlier this year, because they tried to do it on a county or city level, and a judge had already said they couldn't do that. So it'd be interesting to see what happens this time around. Anyhow, that's where you wanted to get to a particular topic there, Midnight?
Oh, not a whole lot. Now, I'm actually just pulling up a couple articles now from the gun feed.
Actually, do we have any reloaders in here?
I reload.
Do you?
I reload a little bit.
Has anybody shot the TPJ rounds at all?
No.
Not familiar with them.
Okay, so apparently they're. Let me see if I read this correctly. It's clean. It's clean bore. It's a clean bore projectile. Supposedly it's high tech polymer coating, and it's instead of copper and metal, it keeps. I guess it's actually coated so it actually coats the lead. It's actually a lead round. but it's coated with polymer.
I know
All I know
people
is that-
powder coat slugs, but I'm not familiar with the polymer coated.
Yeah, like I said, all I know is I'm sitting here looking at it, and it's like 1,000 rounds is $150. Brass case.
Hey, Midnight.
Nice.
I got a question for you.
I just don't know if it's going to be able to work in Glock. That's the only problem.
What's up?
Where can I find one of these lowers?
Hold on a second. Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah, that's on the gun feed, right? Yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where can I find one of these lowers? Because I really want one. Because safe. Okay, it's good to be safe. Fire. Okay, I'm good with that. But you know what? Everybody wants to be like Jerry Mikulek, so I have to go switch to Jerry Mikulek.
Everybody wants to be like Jerry.
It's true. I mean, hell, I want to be like Jerry. I wish I could, I wish I had that good trigger discipline. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, like I said, somebody last time he was, I shouldn't say last time he was in Arizona, but the last time he was up, when I was up there with him, somebody asked him how they could be like him, and he said, "Come and see me after 2 million rounds and talk to me."
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, that's for loading. Getting into loading my 223. I load my 32 Winchester Special. It's actually the one that got me into it. Basically, it's just a neck to 30. And I want to get into loading my 308 and probably my 40 Smith & Wesson. So I'm still relatively new into the whole thing. Those poly coated. What caliber was that? It was 9mm.
9mm. It's 115. I was looking at it for my for competition load, practice load for practice rounds. See, because the nice part about it is I trade my brass in, and thanks to the nice taxpayers, they give me bullets back. But I have to originally buy their ammo first. They don't care as long as they can go brass for brass. So.
Yeah, that's for. What rounds all do you load there, Midnight? That's for, if I remember correctly, you got your 8mm Mauser that you load for, right?
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, I load for the 8mm. I can load for 7.62 by 39. I load for 9. I load for 40, and I can load for 38. And I have the dies to load for a 223. I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, see, my problem here is, since Dylan is Dylan is Arizona, and guys that I shoot with on a Sunday afternoon that come up, both of them work for Dylan.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they're like, yeah, you really need to get the new 750. The new 750, we can catch it. The problem is, get it at a cost too. That's the scary part. Because I can get I can get their discount, which is basically, I think it's 5% above cost. It's like, And 750 really isn't that bad. I think it's under right around $500, $600.
Trying to find one article. I can't find the damn article now.
I just wondered if anybody ever used this stuff, and it says it's a lead bullet, but it's coated in polymer. So the question being is, can you shoot it out of a Glock?
Isn't that what the Syntec stuff is too?
I thought the Syntec was just all polymer. The actual bullet itself was polymer.
I don't think so. Is it? I mean, I've heard of totally polymer bullets, but I didn't think that was like a on the market kind of thing, like a common thing. I'm not sure. What have you guys?
Let's find.
Have you guys heard of anything? I thought the Syntec was just a polymer coated, and
it is. The Syntec is just a polymer coating.
Yeah.
that's where my understanding of the polymer coating, more or less, it's just supposed to be a cheaper version of the copper jacketed lead. It's not supposed to necessarily be anything special. It's just for cheaper, really, right?
That's what I'm reading here, but apparently, from what I see here, they're saying that it's okay because it's a polymer coating, so you're not actually shooting quote unquote lead because Glock frowns on lead in their barrels.
Right. Yeah.
So even it says here, you won't get leading with the poly coated bullets. So there's no reason why you can't shoot it. I'm like, okay, cool.
Okay, I got to read a comment out there from the YouTube side. Mr. Knives, it's mentioning about the whole 10 million rounds. He said, "Come and see me after you eat 10,000 chocolate bars."
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, that's for that's a good one though. But I guess for our practice loads, we can still shoot lead. But that's for the only rounds I've ever used that are non-jacketed have been 38 special revolver rounds. So that's for I've never, out of a semi-auto, I've never tried to shoot anything that didn't have a jacket on it.
Yeah, like I said, I can shoot lead. That's not an issue. But the only problem is with the Glock barrels, they have an issue with that. Over, I guess.
I don't own any Glocks this point.
Yeah, but that's actually going to be. I just ordered like 34. That should be here probably Thursday.
I don't own any Glocks either, and it's great.
Now, I do eventually want to put a 9mm in my collection. I do want to put a Glock in the collection, so I'll probably just do a Glock 9, just so I have one in the collection. But, of course, here I can only get Gen 3s. But
yeah, welcome to California.
I've heard some people say that, like, well, there's actually a case going up through our system right now to nix not nix check, but actually to get rid of the roster, which if we do, that'd be fantastic, because that opens up a whole world of possibilities.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, but the only problem is you can only get one gun a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's if you can afford to buy more than one a month.
2018, I think, was the last time I was able to purchase a new firearm.
Oh, that's okay. Liawatha there, she released her her proposed gun control fiasco when she gets to be president. Well, when she thinks she gets to be president. And I caught part of that, and part of that was I guess right now firearms are taxed at 10%. She wants to jump that to 35%. Ammo is taxed at 11%. She wants to make that 50%. Of course, we're going to have an assault weapons ban. Quote unquote assault weapons ban.
Buyback.
Yeah, the buyback portion of it, and then if you refuse to turn in your quote unquote scary assault weapons, then they have to be registered. So that has to go through ATF. You're going to have to background check for ammo, background check for your firearm. What was the other good? Oh,
Yeah,
you were only allowed to buy now. Typical government. Okay?
Sounds like she's trying to take the California regs national.
Yeah. So
because that's where, with one of the laws that was passed with us, its precursor part, we'll have to, if you want to buy a barrel, you have to, we will have to have it serialized and a 4473 on barrels. We have the separate 4473 on grips, a separate 4473 on bolts, a separate one on triggers, a separate one on firing pins, a separate one on stocks. I don't think they're covering optics yet.
I don't take this the wrong way, Calaveras, but if they tried to do that in my state, I don't know. I think California might try and South Carolina would probably try and secede from the union because that kind of shit won't go here. Apparently in your area, in California, where you have a bunch of cities where stupid people will vote for anything. Apparently that'll go up.
That wasn't voted on by the people. That one was done through, by the state legislature avoiding the public. Jerry Brown actually, vetoed that same bill twice before it, our current, governor, numbnuts, is actually the one that signed it.
Hell, if somebody tried to do that in my state that I lived in, I would secede. It wouldn't go well for me, but that kind of stuff is like next level bullshit that no one wants to comply with. Period. And mark my words, implementing something like that in the state of California will cost the state of California so much money that they'll have to walk back on that one because they can't afford it.
Oh, it's already in ports.
Yeah, the thing of it is, you get places like the Glock store, which I understand as of January 2021, they will have a new store open now in Nashville, Tennessee, which means they will be leaving California. But the one that I like the most is I love these politicians when they word these things. So if you buy two handguns or buy a handgun and a rifle, and it's automatically a multi-purchase and it has to get reported. However, you can only buy one gun a month.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like, fuck you to tell me, what gun I can and can't buy a month. Hell, if I can afford 3 firearms a month, I should be able to buy 3 firearms a month.
Yeah, I agree. That's where
it's technically that's
I'm of the opinion that's. Oh yeah, that's right. Heck, I'm of the opinion that firearms, ammo, all those stuff. Okay, fine. Sales tax. I'm willing to pay just. That's like, okay, say if I go down to the store and want to buy a dozen eggs, they charge 7% sales tax. Now, you want to put that same sales tax on everything else? I may not overly be, thrilled, but hey, that's part of, they do, like you were saying before in the pre-chat about, they do have to have a certain amount of money coming in order to fund various services. I do get that, but when you start trying to add additional surcharge and additional tax on top of for particular items just because the state or government doesn't like us having them, that I have an issue with. My opinion, what should limit my ability to purchase is not, it should be my checkbook and nothing else.
Remember, you got to be sub to Gizzard Gary to be here tonight. Hey, G, what's going on?
Oh, I guess I gotta leave.
Yeah, I know. That's why I put it out there. I wasn't gonna say anything. I just figured I better put it out there, and you see it, and you just, maybe you just shuffle away. oh, darn it! Kick a tin can down the road. Oh man.
Tin Can, more like, from what I've seen from Instagram, with the walks that he takes, Marshmallow on, kicking a golf ball would be easier because they're laying around all over the place.
Yeah.
They're like chicken eggs, just laying all over.
Dead Horse says, "Never heard of this Gizzard guy. You should tell us about him. He's here. He can talk. He can tell you about himself." I will say this, that I took my son to Pumpkin Fest yesterday, and there was a bunch of little Gizzard Garys running around. They had a petting zoo there.
I misunderstood. I thought this was a gizzard roast.
Yeah.
Roasted
Delicious. Fried gizzard.
Yeah, I'm in.
So KFC, Kansas fried chicken.
There you go.
Wow.
All right. So,
Oh, stop that.
Pinky says, tell Gizzard Gary to get plastic surgery and then show some skin that sells the channel big time. There you go.
Plastic surgery. What's wrong with what I am now? Well, I got more skin than most people my size. Most of it right around the belly.
You got some extra.
Yeah, I love
All
that.
right. So, Article 1 from the Tribune Star. Ad's tone, content did not meet standards. Here's why. So the Tribune Star is a paper in Indiana, and they had Top Guns. It was a gun range or a gun store that did an ad in the newspaper or in their paper. They ran it, and then they started catching a bunch of flack for it. And their ad was a picture of an AR-15. It said they were having a Beto special. And people
That's
got
awesome.
all different about it. And it said, I can't find. It's weird because the article I read earlier had the exact quote, but this one doesn't, which is weird. Oh, here it is. It had. Well, they misspelled it, but the ad had said Beto special, and it had an AR-15 there, and then it said Molan Labe under it. So they pulled that article. So and they decided once they realized what they had on their hands there, they pulled that. So which sucks. I mean, it's but I guess they considered it slightly inflammatory.
Inappropriate.
Inflammatory, I guess. Yeah, with
Yeah, that's where was it in your home state there, Night Strike? I heard just this last week I was reading an article. There's a Ford dealership somewhere that's where you buy you buy a car. They give you a Bible and a voucher for one of the local gun shops to go pick up an AR-15. There was a different one here a couple of years ago where it was just a voucher for a firearm, but the new one was actually specifically for an AR-15.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's further upstate toward where Such is. So,
Gabe Stark says Top Guns has a good YouTube and Facebook channel. He's subbed to him. So there you go. There's somebody new to go check out. That's ruffling some feathers, and that's always good. A little Beto special, not intended, a political trope reference. Apparently, yeah. There you go. So there you go. That's kind of fun. I like that. Did you guys off-duty New York NYPD officer arrested after pointing gun at karaoke bar waitress? Did you hear about this one? This is ridiculous.
No, I didn't hear it. This was new.
Oh my god! I think this one's pretty new.
I saw I saw the headline, but I didn't have a chance to see the article.
This is shitty for sure. This makes people look really. This makes cops especially, but gun owners look pretty shitty. An off-duty New York City Police Department officer was arrested and suspended after pointing his gun at a karaoke bar waitress in Queens last week. Officer Hun Kim, 25, was at the karaoke bar in Flushing when a sergeant when a waitress noticed his gun and asked him if he was a gang member. Law enforcement sources told NBC New York. In the midst of answering that he was a police officer, Kim pulled out his gun and pointed it at the waitress. The magazine of the gun fell out and the bullets hit the floor, the sources said, shortly after Kim and his sergeant left the bar. Kim, who was off duty at the time of the incident, and the sergeant, who has not been identified, have both been suspended. Kim was charged with 2 counts of menacing. I guess they couldn't do. I don't know what the difference is between brandishing and menacing. I imagine brandishing, I know, implies that you're using it for fear or to intimidate. So maybe menacing is a step down from that, where you're just sort of doing something
I think it's the other way around. I think brandishing is when you can see a gun, and then menacing is probably when you're threatening or alluding to using it, or even
Yeah,
posing around.
yeah,
Really?
it is. It's reversed. Brandishing is if you would be, you could be charged with brandishing in some of those states that require concealed carry, like Florida, and you reach for something and it happens to show. They
Like
get
your
you for
shirt goes
brandishing.
up, your shirt
Yeah.
goes up, you reach for something on a
Okay.
shelf. Yeah, that's brandishing,
Yeah.
or can be brandishing. But you can also be brandishing if somebody's like, "Hey, I don't like the smell of these flapjacks," and you just lift your apron and there's a desert
Mhm.
eagle. That's brandishing.
That's
But
how
I
I
think-
roll. I
I
mean,
think
I'm
men-
not saying that happens a lot, but
I think menacing is when somebody's like, "Can I have more than one of these little plastic packets of butter?" And you pull out the desert eagle and go, "How about another packet of this?"
Here's your butter, damn it.
yeah. Gabe Stark
Yeah,
says
that's where.
why only trained professionals should have firearms. Right, there you go. That's a perfect example of why trained people should. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say about the brandishing because that's where, like, in because I can't speak to how the other states do, but that's where, like, here, if you got a concealed carry permit and your covered garment, even like if you move and it pulls tight and it prints over it, that's enough to be considered brandishing in some states.
What? That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but we're in a free state right now of Arizona, so we don't have that problem.
So there's some ridiculous bullshit. They didn't say. I don't think it said in the article whether they were or weren't drinking, but that would be another part of it that I'd be interested to know.
Well, here's the thing: these are criminals that happen to have a job, and they happen to carry around something that has political, whatever, triggers behind it. So they're going to throw it at us like, here's a representation of all gun owners, when actually that's a representation of somebody who's going over the line in society, and they happen to have an occupation that should, not allow that, and they happen to be owners of property that people would, whatever, like to not see them particular two people have. So we're being marginalized, and we're playing into it if we say like, oh, that's a bad representation of us. Like, that's the same way like a drunk driver isn't a representation of us at all, right? That's somebody who's drunk driving just because they have a car. So what?
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see what we got next here. This one's pretty crazy here too. Crossing guard relieved of duty and guns seized. So not screen sharing, but if I was, you'd see a picture of the super old timer, Mister been around the block, right? This is Stephen Nichols, 84 years old. Said he was fired from his job as a Tisbury crossing guard for an alleged threat. He said his comments were misrepresented. His lawyer said. Stephen Nichols of Tisbury, which I forget where Tisbury is. I don't remember. And which is really weird because it's a article in the MV Times. MV, I don't know where the fuck MV would be.
Is this in Australia?
No, it's in the United States. I don't know. Maybe it'll say it here as I scroll down here as I see it. It's weird. They just keep saying Tisbury, but it doesn't say what state it's in ever. It's weird.
M like Michael?
MV, yeah. Michael Victor Times is the place that the article's in.
That's Moist Virginia, between West Virginia.
Mid Virginia. So it says Stephen Nichols, 84 of Tisbury, said his career with the Tisbury police spanned 6 decades. He was a police officer there too. And who served in the U.S. Army during the Korean War, told the Times he made no threats to the school, but had criticized its school resource officer in a conversation with a friend. He said the conversation was taken out of context. Dan Larkosh of the Edgartown firm Larkosh and Jackson represents Nichols, and he said he intends to file an appeal of the decision of the police chief that had the gun seized. He actually they came and seized guns out of his guns out of his house. Also, they also pulled his carry permit. There's nothing I can do legally. No criminal charges were filed against Nichols. Town Administrator Jay Grand wrote in an email that a crossing guard was dismissed. In response to your inquiry, I want to acknowledge that a crossing guard was removed from his active status pending a review of personal related concerns. He wrote, I will not have any further comment. So basically, Nichols was at a diner or a restaurant with a friend of his, and he said Nichols said he was unimpressed with the Tisbury school resource officer's alleged trips to Extra Mart to get coffee when children came to school in the morning. While dining at Linda Jean's a couple of weeks ago, Nichols said he told a friend about this and suggested somebody could shoot up the school in that officer's absence, which he described as leaving his post. So basically, this guy who was a police officer for decades in the military and as a school crossing guard there, still at 84 years old, was criticizing the school resource officers for not being at the school when the kids were there. And he said, somebody could shoot up the school. The waitress heard that and called the cops. And they decided to, like it said, not press charges, but they decided to pull his carry permit and basically confiscate all of his firearms in his house. And he was subsequently, I don't know if did it say fired or it said he's on leave or, he's been suspended or whatever. He came up and this is the gentleman talking about the chief of police or the officer that came. He was in the midst of performing and subsequently drove to his home and took away his firearms, license, and guns. He came up to me and told me what I said was a felony, but he wasn't going to charge me. Nichols said of Salayo, I guess Salayo is the officer. The confiscated guns were later turned over to Nichols' son-in-law. Asked if he was given a letter or any paperwork for the seizure of his license. Nichols said, no, he just told me to hand it over, so I took it out of my wallet and handed it to him. Nichols said he had been licensed for firearms since 1958. Licensed for firearms.
So they took away his firearms for criticizing the government.
Yeah, not even the government. Well, I mean, if you want to call that the government,
he
sure.
had a conversation. He said a thing that is in the news constantly. So if they would have been talking about the fire safety guy who has to hang around to prevent fires was going and getting coffee for too long and he said lightning might strike, that would be somebody saying he's trying to attract lightning or he's somehow in control of lightning. I don't like the way he said that. So even though I'm not even in the conversation and I didn't hear the whole thing, I overheard just enough of it to scare me. I'm going to call the police and they're going to have to follow through. Mm-hmm. Right. So this is red flag.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
The guy's compliant. So the guy's compliant. So they're putting this on TV or on the media cycle to be able to say, hey, look here's where it worked. And even though it was a mistake, like, oops, but this guy complied and everything's okay. And his son has his guns and it's at least a child might have been saved type of situation, right?
No.
Trying to make it seem like this is the norm. This is this is just, this is how you do business nowadays. Like if you hear something, act, and it's no big deal. If it's a problem, it'll rectify itself just like this one, no problem. If this is an attempt to make this the norm.
It's bullshit is what it is.
This is horseshit. This is in my mind, an extreme example of overstep. And just destroying somebody's rights. This is somebody, and what makes it even worse is this is somebody that, as far as just reading the article and I don't know the gentleman obviously, but somebody that obviously cares about the kids at the school. If he didn't care, he wouldn't have said anything. He wouldn't have voiced an opinion. So now you've got a guy that, as far as we know, really cares about the safety of the kids in the school. He voices an opinion on, something that could endanger that safety and the kids, and he was taken to the cleaners. Really sad. It really is sad. And this guy too, I mean, what he's done in his life, as far as we know in the article, being a cop, being in the military, being a crossing guard at 84 years old. I mean, holy shit. Here, I'll tell you what. I know you can't. Let me see here.
So
I know you can't judge a book by the cover. You can't look at somebody and be like, they're a threat or they're not a threat. Well, sometimes you can, I guess, in your mind. But does this guy look like a guy that's gonna if I'm trying to screen share, hopefully you guys can see it. This is a guy.
Oh,
This is an old timer. That's an old timer.
As I say, it actually looks like he actually got shot in the head.
Something, yeah.
Wow.
This guy's been around the block, right? So somebody hears this guy's conversation and jumps and they jump.
Yeah, he's definitely the world's next mass shooter. I can see that coming already.
Yeah, for sure.
I can just see him walking down the hallway going clink, 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 clink. Yeah, I got to use my rifle so I can walk clink, clink, clink.
But this is in the Martha Vineyard Times, thanks to Gary. Oh, is he not in here?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Gary's.
Okay.
So that's what we're talking about. So this is a bunch of fancy people, right?
Yeah,
Martha Vineyard's
yeah.
always fancy. So from 50s, then this, I think this is 100% to make it seem like, hey, this is no big thing. This is just like, like the article might as well have said, like, this guy was talking about drunk driving. Like, hey, they shouldn't put up sobriety checkpoints on the main highways because the drunks are just going to drive through the neighborhoods, right? And then somebody overheard that, and this guy doesn't tip good, and I'm going to show this guy because he always parks too close to me. And I don't like the way he plays his music on the weekends when his friends are over, and I don't like his dog barking. So I'm going to call the cops, and they're going to come over and mess with him. And this is this guy going, well, I guess they got a point. Here's my permit without even asking twice. Here's my permit. I guess if somebody said something, then that's the way it goes. And then they're making this article so that everybody goes, oh, okay, this is how it works. It's basically like here's how you red flag somebody. And don't worry about it, because even if it was the wrong thing, at least you did the right thing. Even if you were wrong, you did the right thing.
I will say this. There's quite a few comments under here, and every single one of them is against what happened. They're saying, this is not fair. This is not right.
Anytime it goes, the chief, the board of selectmen at the harbor master. I know that I'm not in Tucson no more.
Yeah, for sure, right? I thought isn't that what you go by, the harbor master? I thought that's what your buddies called you when you see G walk into the local Applebee's there at the bar drinking. Oh, here comes the harbor master again.
I'm gonna have to listen to this guy's opinions on things. So this guy was eating breakfast. Right? He was minding his business, eating breakfast with his friends, bitching about how this other guy eats coffee too much.
Right.
And then somebody was like, oh, I don't like these guys always hanging out in my restaurant, and I can anonymously screw with them. Or I don't like the color of that guy's coat, or that guy wears yellow shoes all the time and doesn't let me rollerblade where I want to. So make one phone call.
Yeah. So bullshit, and more bullshit. So I don't know. As you guys have your shows this week, maybe this is one you want to bring up. I don't know. I don't think there's a ton of people watching right now, but
sorry, Cal was taking off. Let's say goodnight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's already out.
Later, Calvis.
Yeah, he said he wasn't going to be able to stay all that long, but this is a good one to talk about, man. This is a shame. This is really, really bummer.
I wasn't here for the beginning. You're running this until Gary gets his 1,000 subs. This is a 1,000 sub marathon.
Yeah. I'm just gonna keep doing. It's like chain smoking. I'm just gonna keep doing shows until Gary gets to 1,000.
Well, I was going to say 1,000 sub marathon with this outfit here. I'm sure he'll hit 1,000 subs within probably about 10 minutes.
It's not going to. It won't
This
take
should be a pretty short. This should be a pretty short conversation here.
He's probably there now. I'll tell you the truth. Yeah, it's no big deal. Next article: Glock Gen 5 G17 win.
I have a suggestion from that last article. Gave me an idea. You could set up some sort of a page, and for people that live in Martha's Vineyard, and you could say like, "Hey, every time you want to red flag somebody, sub to this guy's channel, and then he'll get his 1,000 subs really quick."
There you go. Yep, the Harbor Master. That's what. If I see somebody this week as trolling in the comments section as the Harbor Master, I know it's you, G. I know it's you. Be out there talking shit in the comment section next week as the Harbor Master.
It'll probably be Sarge.
You can tell by my accounts because I had like dozens and dozens of YouTube accounts. Mine are all from like 2010, so all of my troll accounts are older than.
Yeah, older than anything else. Glock Gen 5 G17 wins major NATO military contract. Pretty neat. Just a neat little article. The Army of Portugal has selected Glock to supply special new Gen 5 G17 models to replace the country's dated military handguns. These bastards over there are still using P38s. I couldn't believe it. Old which they updated from the Luger with. They used to have Lugers, then they updated to P38s, and they're getting rid of the P38s.
That an update?
Yeah, and they're switching to these to the Glocks here, and they're pretty sharp looking. Actually, I mean, this is the Coyote Brown. They're not planning to. It said in the article they're not planning to release this for the public, but that's a pretty cool color. I actually like the.
Say, is that the 19X color?
Yeah. Can you guys still see? Can you still? Am I still screen sharing?
No, you're not.
Oh, let me screen share. I didn't know. When I switched it, it must have.
It's free. You can screen share in the tube for free.
Okay, cool. All right, there we go. A lot of stuff like the new Beretta. I'm not a big fan of that color, but I actually really like this color. I think it's more bronzy.
Yeah, that's a 19X color.
Yeah.
Got the same color as a 19X.
Yeah, it's kind of bronzish looking, not just FDE or whatever.
The bottom's like an FDE desert tan, but the actual slide is actually a bronze color. Mm-hmm. It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty sharp. And then it has a logo on the top, or not a logo. Yeah, a logo, a stamp on the top that says Ejército, which is army in Portuguese. And it's kind of cool. It has like a griffin sort of on it, holding a sword. It's a pretty neat little logo, actually.
Yeah, it's their flag logo, if I'm not mistaken.
The
Portuguese flag logo. Yeah.
So, and then back down here it says the Portuguese military adopted Walter P38 as the M961 in the 60s.
P38s. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hey,
how about it?
Just think of what happens when they finally get imported over here. Just think of all the heritage there you're going to be able to pick up probably cheap.
Well, that's a good point. It would be pretty cool to get a hold of some of those. It said they adopted the P38 as the M961 in the 60s to replace the Luger P08. So these guys have been using. Jesus, isn't that crazy?
Look at those uniforms. Those uniforms look like something out of Desert Storm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
It's crazy. So, yeah, I just thought that was pretty neat. When I started reading more into this article, I started scanning through it, and I was like, I thought I misread it because it said something about, when it said they adopted the P-38 in the 60s, I was like, wait, they've been using the P-38 since the 60s. That's pretty crazy. And they said they've had other, they've used some in small amounts. It says they've used the USP, the P-30, and some SIG 228s, but not as their general purpose handgun. So. And that one on the left looks pretty raggedy, man. It's pretty beat up. It's got a whole lot of wear on it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, these guys aren't going to handle getting Glocks. They're going to be like, wow, probably able to shoot. It'd be a force to be reckoned with now. That is pretty cool, though.
In that picture, it looks like it's got a lot more green to it. That first picture I liked a lot. This one has a little more green tint. So I don't know. I guess it's one. I've never seen one in person, so I guess it just depends on.
But I like that they made the changes there to the 17 because they actually put the front serrations on there. They got rid of that stupid cutout in the grip.
It's got a lanyard loop. That's important too. Super important.
Yep. Yeah, this is like the 19X, but that punches out very easily.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to see what my 34 is going to be like because my 34 is supposed to have front serrations and the no cutout either. So
cool.
I'm happy with that.
All right. So there's that. Damn pop-ups. 6 minutes with Alex A-Rod. Life with J-Lo. Gun control. Free speech. Modeling. Dick's Sporting Goods. Well, Alex Rodriguez is so anti-gun. He's actually fashion modeling in runway shows for Dick's Sporting Goods. So if you're an A-Rod fan, maybe you want to pass next time. He said, where in this article did it say? Talking about his. It says, why did you want to be here tonight? Talking to A-Rod about this fashion show kind of thing. It says, first of all, I've been a customer for a long time, being kind of a baseball geek my whole life. Anytime you can find a place where you can buy balls, gloves, and bats and also rock out with some Timberlands and Nikes. I've been with Nike for over 20 years. It's a little bit of a dying breed. The fact that Dick's is winning in a big way, continues to win and integrate. Why are you supportive of their stance on gun control? In the past 7 years, the company has removed assault rifles from its stores, destroyed $5 million worth of them, and raised the age of buying guns at Dick's Sporting Goods to 21. A-Rod says, I'm aware of what they've done. Look, anytime someone takes a position where they are going to take social good over the bottom line, it's a good thing. I'm the father of 2 beautiful daughters and the stepfather of 2 beautiful twins. I'm proud of what they're doing. So A-Rod's a big Dick's fan. A-Rod loves Dick's. A-Rod loves Dick's. He can't get enough Dick's. So there you go. There's your sound bite for this show. A-Rod can't get enough of Dick's. And the last one I had set up, Sarge here yet or no? Let me see. No,
he's not.
It was this. It was the Fort Worth police shooting. I don't know if anybody's seen this. There was a welfare check. That's what I couldn't think of the damn word. Welfare check done in Fort Worth, Texas. You find it here.
Yep, that would be correct.
See if I can find a video here. CNN. What happened was a neighbor saw the door open a guy saw the door open of a neighbor's house, called the non-emergency line, said, hey, my neighbor's door is open. Can you come check it out? The cop comes. He's a young guy, 25, I think it said in the article. He comes to the house, decides to not knock on the front door, I guess. Doesn't go in the house, doesn't announce himself as a police officer. He goes to the side of the house, and the woman is inside with her, I think, 8-year-old son or nephew or something. Do you remember what it was? That's the one article I couldn't find on Gun Feed.
Did you say how it was a neighbor that called for the welfare check?
Yeah, it was a neighbor. The woman was at, here I found it. Here I found it. I did 28-year-old. So police say officers arrived at a home at 2:30 a.m. After getting a call, the front door was open, searched the outside of the home with flashlights, and observed a person standing inside the home near a window. Body camera footage shows an officer yelled, "Put your hands up, show me your hands." The Sarge said he pretty much made every mistake possible in this call. Right. So I first saw this today on Donut Operator's channel. He did a little breakdown of it, and he kind of said the same thing. He was like, "Wow, this is bad." There was multiple officers there. He said he doesn't really, in his opinion, he's like, I have no idea why one officer didn't go to the front and the other officer didn't go to the back of the house, and they just announced themselves like normal. He's not really sure why this guy did it this way. He went to the side, saw her standing at the window, and still did not announce himself as a police officer. He pulled his weapon up and said, "Show me your hands." And as he said hands, he shot through the window, shot her, and killed her. There was a gun visible, or the police station. Now, this is where optics are so important to the public. They put out a picture of a gun sitting on I think it was a table or the bed, to show that there was a gun in the house, which doesn't matter. There's a gun in my house. That doesn't mean you can shoot. That doesn't mean, so far they have not said that she was holding the gun. And even if she was, if you come to the side of somebody's house at 2:30 in the morning and shine flashlights in the window and yell, how are they supposed to know that that's not somebody trying to break into their house, right? So, this is bad. This is super bad for them. And it's a shame because somebody got killed. Somebody lost their lives for apparently no reason. Now, why the front door was open, I don't know. I haven't heard that part yet. Maybe she came in and had groceries in her hand or something, and, the door didn't close or something. Who knows? It doesn't really matter. If just because you left your door open doesn't mean, you're a criminal or anything, obviously. So I didn't know if you guys heard this one or not. And then this is just a really, really bad instance of a police officer really not following what's just common sense in my mind. Unknown user says the gun was not visible at the time. They found it after. She was on the floor playing with her niece. Right. That was her niece. Yeah, I think she was. Yeah. Okay. I couldn't remember if it was her daughter or her niece or her nephew or something like that. I just knew it was a young one. So I don't know that there's a whole lot to talk about here. I mean, there's not a whole lot of, it's not like you can really defend the police officer for, I don't think, any of his actions.
Like we said before, there was just so many problems with this right from the get go. I mean, it was just as soon as they showed up, it was downhill, and it became a major rolling dumpster fire.
Yeah, and one of the things that Donut had said in his video that I didn't really, I don't know that I would have even thought of, was He pulled up the gun and said, "Show me your hands." Didn't even get the word hands out, and squeezed the trigger, squeezed one off. And he made the comment that, maybe it was a negligent discharge. Maybe he was not intending to shoot the gun, which either way, it obviously doesn't change things. Somebody's dead either way, but it's an interesting thought. Maybe he was just had horrible trigger discipline, and was all amped up and, squeeze off around when he didn't mean to. But either way, she's dead.
And the one thing that wasn't brought up yet, which I'll be interested to find out, is how long has he been on the force?
Oh, someone
I
had a video about that today. They said that he's been in like 3 different departments in the last like 5 years or something. So.
Oh, really?
Okay, well that's, as I say, because that's going to be that'll be a serious red flag right there if he's been that many departments in 3 years, and I'm sure.
Well, that's what I said when I heard that. I was like,
Yeah.
oh man, that's unusual. Like something happened.
Yeah, usually you're if you're 3 departments in 5 years, you had some. There's some skeletons there in the closet somewhere, or you were doing some things you really weren't supposed to be doing. But yeah, that's like I said, that's a major red flag there. But you're not going to have to worry about going to a 6th department.
So a welfare check is typically like, this person's sick, or I'm concerned because I haven't heard from them for 3 days and the garbage is piling up.
No, it wasn't even that.
Right.
It wasn't even a family member. It was a neighbor that called up and said, hey,
Right.
their door's open. They usually have their doors and windows shut and their door and lights on, and it's 2:30 in the morning.
Oh, okay. Well, that is
the
different.
door was there was still a door closed because there was like a glass door, right? Like how like you have the glass storm door and then your actual door.
There was a screen door, a storm door.
Or yeah,
Yeah,
like
but that's
the storm
still
door
makes
was
a
closed,
difference.
but the front door was open and lights on
But
at
that makes
2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, that makes a difference.
But again,
because
that's
that's
still
an unusual break in a pattern, and the neighbors know the pattern, and they're calling because something's different. And if it's somebody who's used to being alone, and that's completely unusual for the lights to be on that long, then that could be like, hey, we're concerned. I thought it was more like, oh, this person's mail is clogging up, because then I couldn't see bringing a gun to that situation. But if it was, it's 2:30, this lady doesn't normally have her door open and the lights on, then they're going to find out if she's being robbed or hurt or something, right? They might have their gun out.
But yeah, like I said, there again too, it was dispatched as a welfare check. So that right there, right in and of itself, welfare checks by 99.99% of the departments, you up to the door in a safe manner. Yeah, you may look in the door, may look in the window, just to see if everything's okay, and you announce. And you make sure everybody that's there knows who you are and why you are there, especially at 2:00 in the morning.
Unknown user says the video does look as if it may have been a negligent discharge. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's hard to say. I mean, obviously he pulled his gun up and was ready to shoot. So, I mean, was it negligent or was it? I mean, I guess you can't really consider it a negligent discharge. If he, I don't know. I guess I don't know how to say what I'm thinking, I guess.
Yeah, well, no. What it's going to be is it's going to boil down to, was it intentional?
Did he have a weapon on his light? Or did he have a light on his weapon when he pulled it? Was there
He had a
flashlight.
I don't know if he had a weapons mounted light or not.
So I've noticed a couple times
remember.
trying to pull a weapon fast in practice and trying to hit a light. that oftentimes on certain lights, your finger can go right into that trigger guard, and if you're under stress and adrenaline pumping, I don't know, I could see it. I thought from the video I saw, it was hard to tell because I was on my phone, but it looked like he had something on the front of that gun, like a weapon light. I was wondering if he was just trying to actually hit that light on to identify and pop.
Could be, yeah. That's what
like
did
I
the
said,
cops say his reasons were for everything? They haven't released anything as far as a cop statement or not. They've just made a general statement from the police station.
They have not. And
Nothing.
they won't until the investigation
Oh yeah,
is complete. They won't do that because what it's going to boil down to was, was it negligence, or was it, and I hate to say, was it actually, like you said, was he going after something, and was it an accident that he got stuck in the trigger? Again,
Well, that's probably his best.
It's irrelevant.
Right? It's
irrelevant because
that's his best defense. That's what he's going to go with.
They didn't do what they were supposed to do right from the beginning, and they should have announced themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have solved the whole issue. But because they failed to follow their own protocols.
There's one thing in all this though. If the cop thought that if the cop was worried that when he went in the house, he was going to have to go through the kitchen, maybe he got scared.
But why would any cop be in the kitchen? Now, come on.
That's what he's saying. He's like, I ain't going in that kitchen. No way. I'm staying out of that house. I'm going to go around back. I'll just shoot the bad guy through the window. I'm not going in that kitchen getting shot at. So, what are you even doing in the kitchen?
Getting some coffee, man. What the hell? What do you usually do in the kitchen?
Yeah.
There was a box of donuts on the counter. And grabbing a donut and eat some, drinking some coffee.
There's
I did see a cute one on Facebook the other day, though. The wife pointed it out to me. She said a guy got stopped by a cop. The cop walked up and goes, it kind of smells a little bit funky in here. Have you been smoking weed? He goes, no, officer, I haven't. He goes, but your eyes are a little glassy. Have you eaten donuts?
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I saw that today, actually. Yeah, your eyes are a little glazed. You been eating donuts?
You sure you haven't been eating donuts?
Geez, okay. Ask Gary to read the 10 unknown facts since it's his marathon when you're done. Yeah, okay, that's fine. I didn't know nothing. I didn't know nothing about no 10 unknown facts. Maybe that was in the chat. You got to remember, when I was doing the articles and screen sharing, I couldn't see the chat. So if you guys were talking about something, I didn't pick up on that. So C4 says, bingo. Matt and Yankee are making a kitchen video as we speak.
Yep.
See, Matt, one of them's playing
what is he doing out there? Why isn't he in here?
One of them's playing
By the way,
we
have the harbor master in here now.
Oh.
All right, watch that video. Watch that video again slowly. I just watched it. So he obviously has a light in one hand, right, and the gun in the other.
Right.
Right before he shoots, a second light, I swear it's coming from his gun, turns on. Everything got real bright. That whole window lit up, and the gun goes off. I think I think it really might be an ND just from trying to pick on that gun light, just habit of pulling that gun, hitting your light, type of thing.
Was that coming from his, or was that coming from his partner?
It looks like it was from his. If you watch that video, because he's right up against that window, so you can see it just spotlight up super bright, and the gun goes off. Like it literally looks like his weapon light comes on a split second before he fires the gun. Like it was like in the same motion. So I really think it could be an actual ND, like he was going for his weapon light, and yeah.
Well, let me pull it up here.
I got a link if you need a link.
No, I got Donut Operator's video pulled up. I had it.
Oh.
I just didn't. All All right, let me.
Yeah, break
We'll do this,
down.
and then we'll have story time with Gary. So let me do this here. All right, can you guys see that?
Yep.
Skip trial. Show. All right, so I'm not going to play the sound.
You
But
don't hear
here's
anything besides him whispering anyway.
right. Yeah. Well, I guess I could play the sound here. Screw it. If I get it,
Just as long as you're hit by a copyright.
I mean, it's not gonna. Yeah, it's not like a.
It's
not a
public
big deal.
information. It's in the public domain.
Right. And if I get, hold on 1 second, I'll be right back. And if I get,
Well, once you hit the play, you're going to get demonetized anyway. So,
right.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. you don't get monetized anyway.
If I get, yeah, I'm not monetized anyway. And even if I was, at least it's going to somebody that I like their channel. You know, it's not just going to like CNN or something. So, all right, let's see if play this here.
Now that was kind of a clue back there. You see that mess on the floor? That could mean like, you know.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I first saw this too. I'm thinking, okay, I can understand justifiably why maybe they didn't knock on the door because of all the crap on the floor. It looked like maybe there
Like
could
the
have been
house
some kind of a struggle, or
Yeah, the
somebody
house-
was in there ransacking the place.
Yeah. So here's him going around to the side.
Can't you just click on the gear and play it in slower speed?
Mm.
All right, right here. Oh, you cut it off.
Yeah, he has a flashlight in his hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a flashlight in his hand, but watch his gun and watch that screen. I swear it looked like another light kicked on there. Like play it in the slow speed.
Click
Click on the
gear.
gear.
Click it to
Yeah.
to speed.
Playback speed 0.25?
No, the other way, 2. Oh, no, yeah, right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that would be.
That'd
Yeah. Okay, let's.
I watch most videos times 2, so I'm just used to going the other way.
Okay, here it is. It does. It kind of does.
I wish they wouldn't have cut the. I wish they wouldn't have cut the donut.
Yeah, it does kind of look like you might have a separate light too. It's hard to say because it's like reflecting in the window. You can't really tell if it's one light reflecting and you can see it twice or not. But yeah, so
whenever dash cams and now body cams are like, oh, these are the solution to everything because everyone will have we'll have it recorded. We'll know exactly. Like everybody's got this like idea that cameras are drones up above giving you this perfect view of everything.
right.
That's basically worthless. And how would you want your freedom to have to depend on people's impression or interpretation or whatever comes out of that mess of video, quote unquote, right? I don't like this whole idea of video. I think it lets people, whatever this is called, this is worse than sports. People, when I was a kid, you'd go to school and you'd eat lunch or whatever, and then during periods of time when you could sit around, there was like tons of people that would sit around complaining about sports because there wasn't even like really good instant replay. So it was all like people's recollection of what they thought and comparing it to what the referee said. And then when they got to the video, it just got worse. People bickered even more because they were just, oh, I don't believe that was a foot over the line or it's on the line. All it's fucking variation. So this is except people's lives are at stake now. People's careers, people's impression of an occupation based off of inexperienced like manipulated. If they're going to, I bet you've seen the deal where they put the exact same words. They could put the exact same video down and say it to you. Here's a cop that's suspected of wrongdoing. And then they could put another one down and they could go, here's a police officer who's suspected, who's going to be given an award. And they put that same video in front of you that's like this. And you might go, wow, that guy reacted, and I know he's getting a reward. So this must be a police officer with such valor. And then you get told, here's a person who's questionable in integrity, and we're skeptical of what he's doing. You're going to look at that video and be critical. So I don't think videos help anything. I think they just create more division and rift. And I guess every once in a while they're probably perfect. Like, oh, now we have a video, and now we have 100% testimony that you're right or wrong. But I think just as often, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just my impression, but I definitely don't think.
I think to some degree too. It, I mean, it's just like having cameras in your business. It keeps the employees a little honest too, and they know they got a camera on there. Not that.
No way. It's on your chest. No, it's on your chest. So what's the first thing somebody's unscrupulous going to figure out? Oh, all I got to do is aim my chest a little bit over to the left, to the right, and now that thing, I'm going to see barely the peripheral. You don't think that the unscrupulous are going to know immediately the boundaries of that scope? And if they bring their arm over and reach for someone where they used to grab them on the right shoulder with their right arm, now if you reach across and grab them on their right shoulder with your right arm, you've occluded that camera. And you can do anything you want now. And if they know that it's going to the microphone, that's when they say, I'm going to kill you if you don't. And then they let go, and it looks like he just touched them. No, the bad people are going to know exactly the perimeters of this thing and work outside those perimeters. The good people are going to get unfairly judged. And every once in a while, there's going to be the perfect scenario that they're going to focus on and say, this is why these are important to have.
So the wife says, I don't think it should be public, talking about videos. Don't think they should be public until the investigation is done or if the people sue. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that like dash cam videos and these
I think not making it public allows them to sweep certain things underneath the rug without there being a public uproar about it.
That's not necessarily true because, again, being on the law enforcement end of it, I absolutely agree that should be not publicized until the investigation is complete. Because you have automatically right here, you have the judge, jury, and executioners sitting right here watching the video. So you're automatically, you're judged by the public and by the media. So until that investigation is done, because that investigation is going to be done by an outside agency to begin with, so it's going to be a fresh agency coming in anyway. Until that investigation is done, nothing should be released.
What if they posted that video we just seen right now? Like, oh, that's inconsequential or whatever. Nobody's going to think nothing. Or what? More like, even if it was this scenario, we don't know what the results of this are. But let's say that they release this and somebody goes, oh snap, that's a pair of Nikki's running shoes at the beginning laying on the ground there. I didn't know, and they called Nikki, and now Nikki can flee or change and run over there and screw with something. Like, no way. Like, I agree. Like, if they're in the course of whatever, there's no need, there's no requirement, and it's not tactically prudent to let evidence out. That's ridiculous. Unless it's like, hey, we're trying to catch this person. Here's what their car looks like. Maybe.
Yeah, like I said, and there again too, you're looking at, okay, well, hey, we're looking for this, we're looking for this car with this plate. There's no reason why you need to release a video about it, unless, of course, you have video. This is the color of the car. This is where they were, but we're not sure exactly where this is. That would be a different story.
Mm-hmm.
But again, until the investigation is complete, nothing like that should be released. I
think too, a lot of times, I think I think one of the reasons that they do like to release them, especially when they're not at fault, or when they're not at fault, though, is to kind of keep public opinion at bay or on their side. Because I mean, you see it a lot where even though there's a video out there showing somebody attacking a cop, attacking a cop. Well, look at the one. Was it not Fort Worth? Where was it? The Dollar General, wherever the hell that was, where the guy tries to rob the the dollar store, and the clerk shoots him, kills him, and the family's out there, even though the guy robbed the place, saying how, oh, he didn't have to shoot him, so he tried to rob him. Oh well, call the cops. Like, I think there are the times where the police are definitely in the right. They want to release that video so that they don't have to fight upstream against the public that's automatically going to think that they were in the wrong, even if they weren't. So,
and again, I agree with that too. Okay, but however, when that video and stuff was released, that certainly wasn't released 15 minutes or a half an hour or 45 minutes after it happened.
right.
That video was released a few days after the fact, after the preliminary investigation was completed, and it was found that there's nothing wrong here.
Mm-hmm.
This one they didn't even start an investigation on, and they already had the video released because of departmental transparency. That's bullshit. Because now you're going to have the court of public opinion, and okay, so this is the cop. He did this, and it's not just him now. It's every cop. Every cop's like this now.
Well, I think they already did somewhat of an investigation, because I think that video is several days old, and the reason why they released it is because they charged him with murder, right? So
Yeah, he was. I believe he was charged.
He has been charged now. Yes.
So
when the article that I read, when that was written, I don't think he had been charged yet. But so I don't know. I can't really.
From my understanding of it, that incident happened Sunday morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning, and that video was out Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening.
Yeah, it says he was booked into the Tarrant County Jail according to police. Bond has been set at $200,000. So
yeah, that's true. I did see that. So I mean, obviously he was charged.
He was charged with murder. Yeah. So I think they did do an investigation, and obviously they found that something, whether it wasn't he violated policy or whatever it was, they think that he's guilty, that he fucked up. So I think that's exactly why they released the video.
There again too, was the reason why he got charged because of the video being released, and the court of public opinion said he was a scuzzbucket. So with that extra pressure, now they're going to charge him.
I don't know. I think this one was kind of blatantly obvious that it was a fuck up. I don't know. To me, it is.
Well, there again too. The
I'm not
problem
saying
is
he did anything maliciously, but he still took somebody's life, right? He still fucked up.
I understand that. However, again, you can't see in the window. You can't see everything that was going on. Okay, was she sitting in there playing on the floor? Okay, that's what said. That's what they said. Was she sitting in there actually on the bed? Did she have the gun in her hand? There's so many variables to that aren't released, because I don't think the investigation has actually really been completed yet. But again, that's not my call, so that's theirs.
Mm-hmm.
They got to do what they got to do. But I still stand by the nothing needs to be released until the investigation is completed. I don't mean okay, well, we did our preliminary and it's been 45 minutes and it's been 12 hours, so okay, we can release it now.
Mm-hmm. All right then. So, Gizzard, what the hell you got to say? What's going on now? What did I miss? I don't know what's going on with this 10 unknown facts. This is the Gizzard Show. You got something to tell us?
Well, Mia threw something out there saying, I want to hear 10 unknown facts about Gizzard Gary.
Mm-hmm.
Now, actually, the first 4 were thrown out by other people. Dead Horse says, number 1, he glows in the dark. Number 2, he doesn't actually make a noise when the sun rises. Then Snob says, number 3, he glows in the daylight.
Like a vampire.
Dead Horse said, number 4, 40 Smith & Wesson is his favorite caliber. And I finally threw one in, a real one, number 5. I sang special choir in high school and sang in church choir as an adult. So I'm a real live choir boy. Unknown user said number 6, he was on SEAL Team 6 and was actually the one who killed bin Laden.
I thought you were on Chicken Team 6.
I threw in number 7, has all his tonsils and all his wisdom teeth.
Ah.
Snob says number 8, he doesn't really like cats, just George. Let's see. I think that was pretty much the end of the numbered ones. Let's see. I threw out, took 3rd place in the county spelling bee in 5th grade, which is actually true. And then I think the last one was, I was actually mentioned in the Sanford, North Carolina newspaper once. True story. That was in 2002. I and my wife were watching the MDA telethon that year, and Jerry Lewis went on and on about the Sanford, North Carolina City Council would not let, every year the firefighters would set up what they called a voluntary toll road in a kind of like a Walmart parking lot, and they passed the boot, to collect money off people. And they'd done it for a number of years. Well, they decided that it was a hazard and they couldn't do it anymore. So Jerry Lewis railed on about it. So me, being the social conscious person I was in 2002, wrote a letter to the editor of the Sanford Herald telling him that I thought that was horrible what the city did. And I checked back a few weeks later. They actually wrote a reply and quoted me in the city newspaper, and I thought that was pretty damn cool. So somebody from clear across the country quoted me. So those are 10 unknown facts about Gizzard Gary, some of which are actually true.
All right, here's a question: If you wouldn't have picked Gizzard Gary for your channel name, what would you have picked?
Well, at the time, I was still using my real name.
Right.
Mulling over different names because everybody else was going away from their real names and picking channel names, but I couldn't come up with anything that didn't sound corny.
Right.
And I ended up picking one that sounded corny, but I had nothing to do with it. And actually, and you know good and well how it came about and who's responsible, if you know what I mean. So,
I do. I know who it was.
Everybody else picked it up, but I was like, well, that ain't so bad. I could do something with that, I could.
It's catchy. It's catchy.
It's a theme. It's a name. Let's go with it. So I made it my own.
Yeah, I did that. It's just something I never asked. I never asked you if you had something that you were gonna pick and never did it.
Not really. I tried a couple different things and they were stupid, so I went away from them after a couple weeks.
Yeah, you don't want to pick a stupid name. You want to pick a something real cool like Gizzard.
Yeah,
something stupid. Yeah.
It wasn't long after that before somebody.
Actually, that's kind of like a horror name, man. Like that's like I was just thinking that could be like a horror movie name, like of the bad guy.
Yeah. I don't know who came up with the tactical chicken thing. I think that was Ghost, but I'm not sure. That or Hatfield. Sound like something Hatfield would do too.
Here's another question. So your daughter knew that you were doing like the YouTube thing. Excuse me. She was, you had doing the YouTube thing and whatnot. What the hell was her reaction when you said, "Hey, I'm changing my name to Gizzard Gary"?
Well, she was not originally in favor of me. She said, "Dad, I think you spend too much time with those people." I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "You're in there with all those gun nuts. You never know what kind of stuff they're planning and stuff like that. You know, I think maybe you shouldn't spend as much," because I'd always talk about it to her. You know, the things we talked about, the things we did. And she said, "I think you're spending too much time with these people." But I think then she's pretty much seen what it's like. She's been in a few chats and seen them, and she realizes that we're just having fun here. So, has Giz ever been recognized? You know good and well I have, Snob. Once. Once. Okay, next question.
I don't know. Anybody else?
Has Gary ever answered if a hot dog is a sandwich?
Of course, a hot dog is a sandwich. Kinky says you should tell about a guy named Kinky Sphincter. What can I tell you about Kinky Sphincter you don't already know?
What is it? Hello, Dolly. When that song, like, let me tell you about what is it? That's an old one. What is that song from Hello, Dolly? Shoot, just had it.
That's before my time.
Yeah, me too. But I remember watching it as a kid. The Wells Fargo wagon is a coming down this. That's from Hello, Dolly.
That's from Oklahoma.
No, it's from. I think it's from.
No. It's from Music Man, isn't it?
Oh, the Music Man. Yeah. No.
Yeah, Music Man.
Yep.
Yes, I have seen a few musicals in my time.
Yeah, I like musicals too. I love going to see stuff. Seen quite a few.
I have in my time, not recently, but we used to have some theater around here you could actually go to. Dinner theater.
Trying to think the last thing we saw. Lion King? We saw Lion King. We saw, you know what? Since we've had the little guy, we've gone and seen a couple of things. The wife took him to see
Was it you mentioned Arsenic and Old Lace?
What's that?
Somebody mentioned Arsenic and Old Lace in a chat the other day. I think that's the last one I actually saw. It's an old standard, but it's funny. My favorite food, pizza, probably, like everybody else.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Last theater I was to was in Philly. We saw Phantom of the Opera.
I saw Phantom years ago on Broadway. That was really cool. Saw Phantom, saw Christmas Story, or no, Christmas. What is it? Christmas Carol. Christmas Carol, yeah.
Yep.
I always say Christmas Story, and it's not a Christmas story. We saw Lion King. We saw Beauty and the Beast. That was good.
Oh, and Cats.
I never saw Cats.
Cats I saw in New York.
And we saw, I don't know, what did we see with the little guy the other year? Disney? Was it Disney on Ice we saw? But she took him, I couldn't go, but she took him to see Avengers on Ice or whatever. Marvel on Ice or Avengers on Ice. That looked pretty cool. They sent some pictures back, and they had, dressed up like Hulk and Thor and all that.
Let's see. Kinky wants to know my favorite movie. Well, that's easy. Blazing Saddles. Hands down. Have I ever been caught soliciting a lady of the night? No.
He's never been caught.
Right, caught.
He
That's the ultimate word there, caught.
That's right.
It's like when somebody says, "You ever been arrested for such and such?" Arrested? No. Big difference.
Just remember, being charged is not a conviction.
Right. Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, would Giz or Gary ever get married again? No. I don't know. Yeah, that was your wife come up with that one. Oh, not unless it was a really rich lady.
Probably
really
because
trying
probably because she wants to move to Kansas. She's gonna ditch me and wants to see if he can hook up with the Giz.
Not even for the right chick.
Am I on Tinder? No. I have been on Plenty of Fish before, but not anymore. Does all Gizzard's exes live in Texas? Is that why he hangs out in Kansas? Actually, as far as I know, none of them live in Texas.
I heard that song yesterday, as a matter of fact.
I don't know where they all live.
Who says it's not illegal if you don't get caught? That's definitely not true. It's still illegal.
Yeah, gun
but
snobs.
it's only punishable if you get caught.
I've tried to fix him up, with his mother-in-law. Nobody's gotten really personal with any questions. That's
when are we going to get some range?
Huh?
I was going to say, when are we going to get some range videos from Gizzard?
Hopefully soon. There's a new range I'm meaning to try out here soon. Outdoor.
I think it'd be cool to see a little maybe accuracy comparison of your Glock in and out of your macaroni.
That would be interesting.
Macaroni? You got the macaroni?
Macaroni.
Callahan says, talk about Spam-A-Lot. I saw Spam-A-Lot with my dad and my brother. That was really cool. They did a good job on that. What's your next gun purchase going to be?
No idea.
No
that's
idea. That's always the correct answer because you never know.
A Kimber KF6. That's what Gizzard's going to get next.
I know what mine are.
My favorite song.
You can't say that you know.
I guarantee you it's one that you probably haven't heard of, so.
I know where my next two guns are going to be.
It's off the band Kansas's first album. The name of it is Lonely Wind. Look it up sometime.
That's what you call it when George farts and he's all by himself. It's his lonely wind.
It was that was my first email address on Hotmail was lonelywind@hotmail.com. I tried to get it in Gmail, but somebody had already taken it by the time I got Gmail. So, you remember back when you had to get an invite to get Gmail at first?
No.
You had to find somebody who had it, and they could send 10 invites, I think.
Oh, yeah?
10 invites, period. Like, not 10 at a time, but like 10.
Right, period. So I finally found a friend who'd send me an invite. It was beta back then.
Kinky saying, "Ask him, dang it! Ask him what? What do you want me to ask?"
Good romantic advice from Gizzard Gary. Don't.
Just say no. I thought that was I didn't realize that was a question because it's not a question; it's a statement. Good.
That's kind of what I was thinking too.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was a question. Sorry.
My first email was Juno. Kinky, ask him romantic advice and what's some advice he'd give his younger self. Oh, God.
Stay away from the gas station meats, huh?
It's like anybody else, if you could go back and relive your life, there's so many things you'd do different, but then you wouldn't have a lot of the cool things you have now. So I think everything happens to you for a reason, whether it was good or bad. So, yeah, I've made a few mistakes, some things I'd do over, but hey. I definitely avoid some of the deer. That's for sure.
Yeah. The deer slayer over here.
Yeah. And I've worked out at that place since 1980. It was 2004 before I ever hit a deer.
Get a lot of hit deer up here, man.
Gary says, take the ladies to the disco. Nah, that was too many years ago.
Yeah,
I
just drive.
remember disco. I did take a lady to the disco. That was 40 years ago. Good Lord.
Just drive 80 and 81 up in Pennsylvania, and that's what you see is every 15 feet is a deer.
Yeah, and I'll tell you too, the amount of trucks that we have, man. Sometimes when they hit a deer, it's just like instant hamburger, man. It's a mess.
How to talk to girls. So, hello, girl.
Hello, bro. I've had it reminded me of a song, Conway Twitty song.
How many negligent discharges have you had? One.
Quack quack. Is that what that was? What the hell was that?
Get a copyright strike.
Mine as well.
I think I told the story the other day. I did have one negligent discharge. I was in my early teens. My dad was trying to teach me how to hunt, and the first year he had gotten at an auction an old antique single shot 12 gauge. And we were out quail hunting on a buddy of his land, and I had you had to pull the hammer back to cock it. And we were hunting, and then we got to a place where we were going to be walking for a while, so I thought I'd be safe and uncock the gun. The only way you could do that on that old thing was hold your down on the hammer, pull the trigger, gently let it up. Well, I didn't have my thumb in the right place. The hammer come up, tore a hole in my thumb, mind you, got it bleeding like the dickens. And, of course, the gun went off and blew a hole in the ground. I was at least exercising control of the muzzle, because I blew a nice crater in the ground in front of me, and everybody stopped to look and what the hell. Luckily, one of Dad's buddies had a red handkerchief, said, here, tie this around it. Because back in those days, you didn't go to the ER. We had hunting to do. So we finished the day hunting. And I did not die or anything like that. But, yeah, that was my first and only negligent discharge.
Yeah, I had one hunting too. That's when I had mine.
Every decision you've ever made in your entire life led you to being on this chat tonight. That's true. Favorite thing being in the gun community? Besides guns, you mean? The people. People like Sweetheart Midnight Range up here on your screen. You know.
Oh, here we go.
Let's see. Gizzard Gary, did you know you can get a pill for that? Yeah, I've heard that. Gary's first wife.
Who's your favorite YouTube channel? That's a good question.
I mean, besides mine?
Yeah, there you go. That's true.
Let's see. My favorite. I should say MidnightRangeTM. That's definitely
Well, that's a hard one too, because it changes too. I mean, you sort of evolve and you start watching different things, and you get on these benders where you'll have a favorite channel for a month or so, and then it'll change and it'll go to something else. So that's a hard question.
When I first started watching gun videos, I'll admit it, I was into Hickok 45. Yankee Marshall. I watched a lot of that. This guy called the Firearm Guy, who's still on a lot of his videos. And let's see, who has a better channel name, Kinky or the Dehydrator? Well, how did I answer in the bracket?
I don't remember.
But to be fair about it, Kinky named his own channel, and Dehydrator was a name somebody else gave somebody. He didn't pick it. So I remember seeing Kinky Spectre for the first time. I thought, wow, what a name.
Yeah.
And I still think that every time I see
that. The wife says she's never seen Hickok. Hickok's it is what it is. I mean, It's one of those channels that if I'm looking up a certain gun and he has a video on it, I'll watch not all of the video generally. I'd watch a couple minutes of it and just get but it doesn't. Once you get more into guns and more into the YouTube, and if you are a creator, like once you start doing your own videos and stuff, it loses a lot of its appeal.
Well, I think if you're just learning about guns and you want to see a bunch of different guns and you want to hear just a little bit of the background on them and stuff like that, well, Hickrock's a good place because he'll shoot for a while and he'll stop and talk about the gun and say, well, this came about because blah, 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 blah. Such and such actually carried one of these, blah, 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 blah. And in, just a few weeks' time, you could get exposed to a lot of stuff and you could maybe develop a little bit of knowledge you didn't otherwise have. Realize 5 years ago, I didn't own a handgun yet. So I had a lot of learning to do in a short amount of time. So
yeah, that's one thing. Hickok had a good advantage over most everybody else because he was a school teacher. So he had that already polished teaching ability. So he knew how to keep your attention.
9mm says, I thought Gary was kinky for a long time. What makes you think I'm not? I mean,
yeah, he's using his other machine. See, all that stuff that Kinky won is actually going to him, and we'll see a video of it soon. He'll be shooting a suppressor and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that son of a bitch shows up doing a suppressor video with a tiny little tiny little jacket on. I'm gonna be pissed.
Let's see. I think I'm probably one of the few people in here who has actually been on a live chat with 9mm. Mm-hmm. Well, it wasn't really live, but it was a chat.
Mm-hmm.
You were first trying stuff out.
Yeah,
so I know what our voice sounds like.
And we first got the computer.
Yep. That's 100 years ago.
I know, it seems like a long time ago. I don't know when that was. I don't know which one was I'd have to look and see.
What's your vice and your biggest pet peeve? My vice?
Yeah, like what's the one thing you can't do
alcohol,
without?
Women.
Yeah, like what's
guns,
the one thing you gotta have?
Marijuana. Meth.
One thing that I do have that I shouldn't probably chewing tobacco.
No, it doesn't have to be that. Like for some people, it can be like hiking or yoga. It can be. What's the one thing you can't live without, dude? Like it could be a good book. Like.
I don't know. I eat too much. Like I say, I chew entirely too much, and I need to quit that. Daughter's been trying to get me to quit for years now. So I did that to quit smoking. Unfortunately, that was 14 years ago. My biggest pet peeve. Oh, I don't know. I don't like two-faced people, but I think about anybody can say that. People who park in my driveway. I've got a driveway on one side of my yard, and then the neighbor's driveway is basically right parallel to mine. And there's a strip of grass, or at least there was at one time, about 6-7 feet wide. Well, since the neighbors moved in about 2-3 years ago, they've only got like 8 old pickups parked out in front of their house. So they've taken up the entire center strip in between the two driveways. And they encroach closer and closer. At times I have to move clear to the left-hand edge of my driveway just to get in and out. That's annoying. I haven't said anything to them, but thought about it. And yes, I have come home a time or two of people actually parked in my driveway because they overflowed. But they saw I was pulling in. They quickly ran out, got in their car, and moved it. Little things. Little things. Gary's first computer was an Abacus. No. My biggest pet peeve is having neighbors. I like that one. That it. Ooh, Black Cat Outdoors. Good gut. Are we up that late?
Jeez.
Wow. RL's out there. Everybody's bored. Who built the pyramids? Wasn't me. I was surprised when he told me.
March 2nd, 2018 was the first live stream I did with a computer.
All right.
So
Year and a half ago.
Just kind of was curious, yeah. That,
Sure seems like it was longer ago than that.
yeah. Only did an hour and a half. Kid stuff.
Yeah, I can remember before that you used to do your live streams and it was just you talking and then you were reading the text and
yeah. Well, even this one they don't have the replay text yet. But yes, Tardot, Ellis, you, me, and Alan B. Pro.
Oh yeah, Alan.
Yeah.
He was on my first live chat.
Oh, I'm scrolling through it real quick too. Hosh is on it. Clover's on it. Yeah. That's funny. And Black Cat's on it too at the beginning. RL's on it.
Back when he was RL.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. That's funny. Unknown User says trivia. How many sides does the Great Pyramid have? I don't know. I mean,
8.
The inside
4,
and
I
outside.
guess. They have 4 sides, and then
No.
I mean, I don't
It
know.
has
Do you count the bottom?
No, it's an 8-sided.
8 sides.
You don't count the bottom.
Oh yeah.
What you?
Yeah, every one of those sides on the Great Pyramid's really 2 sides.
Starstruck.
Why?
Because it's slightly inverted. It's not straight across. It's split right down the middle, and you can only see it when the sun's just right and you're directly overhead. You can't see it from the ground. But if you're overhead in a plane, there's famous photographs of it. But the lighting and everything has to be just right, and then you can see that it has 8 distinct sides. And it has
So in
to
other
be
words,
from the air.
so that when you look at it from the bottom, it looks like a triangle still. It's like not really a triangle.
I'm not sure why. I don't even think the thing I watched that was talking about it didn't even go into why they did this. I don't think anyone knows why. Because it can only be seen from the sky or noticed from the sky at all. But
it's like you're talking like they tried to build a certain shape of a triangle, and then they got like halfway through building it, and then the shape of the triangle changes, and they continued building it.
No. So let's say you take the one of the sides of the pyramid, right, and you're on the ground on one of the sides of the pyramid. Draw a line straight down the middle of it from top to bottom of that side of the pyramid, right, and now push it in just a little bit, so it kind of V's in, but just barely. Does that make sense? So it's not an actual straight wall. That side actually wasn't, ever
So it's more
designed
like
to
a star,
be completely
an actual
flat.
pyramid.
Yeah,
Just
kind of
straight.
more like a star, kind of like what you would see up in the sky, a twinkling star. Yeah.
Maybe it just sunk in under its own weight in like a consistent way. So
No, they proved that they built it because even the casing stones that are left on the bottom of it had the same degree of angle to them. So even when it was all smooth and covered with nice casing stones, it was designed to do that.
You can save that shit for the gay frog chats. Conspiracy chat. I watched his chat today while I was doing some stuff. He had a rough chat yesterday. He was he was having a hard time herding the cats yesterday. It seemed like.
I think the main thing was he was kind of calling it a program and all that. I think he should have went with more the hologram thing that's actually suggested by quantum physics. So it solves by quantum physics. It solves the information paradox that we actually live in a 3D hologram, but in a 2-dimensional universe.
You're blowing my mind, bro.
I'm just saying, quantum mechanics seems to suggest that, and there's more evidence for that than a nuclear reaction taking place in our center. So
that's too much thinking for me.
That's way too deep for this show. Way too deep.
All right. I'm getting tired. This was supposed to be. I remember when this chat was going to be an hour long.
And that was 2.5 hours ago? Yeah.
Yeah, 2.5 hours or whatever. Yeah.
Well, it's
go live.
It's a true midnight range chat, at least.
Yeah. Was going to go live, talk about some stuff, fill a little bit of time in, say hi to people.
Well, did he hit his 1,000? If not, we still got to keep going.
Yeah,
I think I'm right about the same place as when I started.
Probably, because it's just the same old bums out there in the chat. There's nobody new out there tonight. But hey, do that. Let's see if we can do that. Let's say, if you guys are doing that, you guys that do chats, do chat this week and tell everybody if they're watching, they got to be subbed to Gary. See if we can get him up there.
What's he up to?
21 watching. Keep it going. Shut up, snob.
606. I only need 394 more to get to that.
Son of a bitch, there is 22 people watching. Jesus.
Well, here, let me log off and we'll solve that.
There you go. Yeah. I'm all out of topics. Other than I didn't really do any research on it, but I was watching a video or two about, keep every once in a while you pop up these videos about the mess that is California with, just the homeless population and drug abuse and needles in the streets. And there was an article written. I forget who did it. It might have been Tim Pool did a video on an article that he read, and it was about the fact that that STDs are on the rise, like extremely on the rise. Certain STDs in California are really, really skyrocketing. And read this article about not calling them STDs and making sure that
because that's derogatory. Yeah.
Right. We call them STIs because you don't want to. They shouldn't have the stigma. They shouldn't be stigmatized. Calling them diseases. You
So
shouldn't.
let me get this straight. California passes a thing to make it completely legal for someone with a STI to give someone else that STI without telling them and letting them know that's completely legal, and then all of a sudden disease goes up on the rise. The STIs rise. Wow, that doesn't seem like correlation.
No, it's
at
totally
all.
unaffiliated. Why don't you quit being so diseasist? What if it was
Diseases, right?
maybe it was about to go up to 3 times that rate, and then their awareness and their openness with STIs has caused it to actually decrease from its epidemic rates. It was going to.
I forget which one it was. If it was syphilis or something, it went up like 900% or something in the past. However long it was, I don't
What's
remember.
the disease you get from armadillos? I heard that one.
Leprosy.
Yeah, that is what it was supposed to be.
They're saying typhus. Yeah, I heard typhus. The bubonic plague. Like, it's a freaking mess. But that was my whole. That was kind of when I heard that. Then I heard this article. I said, "Oh, you should say sexually transmitted infections." Damn. Infections and not diseases, because it stigmatizes the condition, and it stigmatizes the person. And so the tough love side of me, automatically says, things like, okay, well, maybe if you stigmatized it a little bit more, people would be a little bit more afraid of getting them, right? I mean, at some point, like these diseases and infections or whatever, it's just like AIDS. They decided, in San Francisco that, if you knowingly give somebody HIV, it's only a misdemeanor now. They did that like a year or two ago. Like, at what point did we stop? Did they decide that giving like sexually transmitted diseases are not a big deal, and it's just like, don't worry about it. It seems really weird and kind of scary, and you see it not being talked about, not being a talking point as much, and you see them start to flare back up. It's scary. Gunsob says, I don't know what he's talking about, but he said just pour some gas on it, but he didn't spell pour right. Read C4's comments. I did read some of them. It's all horse shit. Said, if you wear 2 pairs, he can't spell neither. If you wear 2 pairs if glasses, you can get a second look at things. There you go. Okay, and he also said, read my comments.
Cops aren't allowed to spell.
Yeah. And then he cries about me not reading his comment, his dumbass comment. I remember when he was gonna come join the chat. He was here for like 5 seconds and then left to go bake the donuts. And we haven't seen him since.
How many times did you ever see Magnum PI have the time to sit down for a chat? Come on. I'm saving the world.
Yeah, that's true. He was off buying Hawaiian shirts. Starching his mustache. Got to put that good starch on there. Now they're all correcting their shitty grammar. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Class to join up a little bit. That way the chat, when people watch this in replay, they can, they know that we care about grammar here.
And Grandpa.
I watched, I was listening to Yankees chat. Shit was funny. Was it yesterday, or I guess it was yesterday? Him not knowing that you could read the live chats and replay, and he was arguing about it.
Yeah.
That shit was funny. That shit was funny. And I suck at computers, right? Like I'm not making fun of him for not knowing something, but he's just so damn stubborn that he would not accept the fact that you could still. He's like, no, I don't have that. No, no way. It's funny. And then eventually he finally caved in. He's like, oh shit. Oh, C4 defense was in the kitchen. What were you even doing in the kitchens? Shouldn't be in the damn kitchen. Gee, you need to make a patch. It says like thin blue line, never go in the kitchen or something. Snob says my favorite shirt was a Hawaiian until my wife threw it away.
Like some sort of a 4-burner stovetop with the thin blue line so that they know like where their bounds are.
You could do a stovetop and then a red circle, but instead of a red line, you could put a blue line through it. Or you could put a picture. Yeah, I guess you wouldn't be able to put a picture of a. You put a picture of a kitchen floor and put a blue line. Can't cross that blue line into the kitchen. He's protecting and serving. Yeah.
I feel like that's what criminals should be doing. Is like, put a toaster oven, bowl of water, whatever. Get off the place wherever you're at. That's like cop repellent. Like, oh well, they're probably doing something bad. A lot of drugs and explosives, but it's in the kitchen. What are we gonna do? Maybe they'll take some of that stuff with them.
Yeah. That's like when you were playing tag or something as a kid, and you could be able to go back to your home base. You say, "I'm on home base. You can't get me."
Tagged, can't do squat. It's like running up.
Bad guys. Bad guys just sitting there at their kitchen table all day long.
Too bad your jurisdiction don't reach past that threshold, copper.
Yeah. Sarge marked himself as safe from the kitchen 2019. Home base. What were they even doing? What were you even doing in the kitchen? I love that. That shit makes me laugh. All right. We're pushing quarter of 3. Made it to home base, yeah. Home base. I'm safe. You guys have anything going on? G, you got the almanac rocking.
Yeah, it's like 46%, and there's like a week, 12 days left.
Cool.
We'll see. It's not a sure thing, so yeah, definitely could use help for spreading the word. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Allow me.
Trying to look.
Here's your link.
I'm trying to look up the changing spark plugs on the van, and I remember whenever I first got it, I looked into it, and it was you got to pull off the passenger wheel, so wasn't really thrilled about it. But now
that sucks.
Yeah, it's like that one is up front. You got to kind of go up from the wheel well, which means pulling the wheel off, and then that weird, what do you call that wheel well? That plasticky fabric thing. Every time you touch it, it rips, and it doesn't ever go back in right. Little thing that keeps the dirt from actually hitting the engine, like underneath the fender. That's the part I'm really not looking forward to. Anyway, I went to look, and it was they're saying just on Google, like not actually asking for an estimate, but just when you ask Google how much is this car part going to cost to repair, it says like $288. So obviously I'll be doing it myself. There's no way I'm paying somebody $300 to change like two. There's only 2 of them that are even difficult. The rest of them are right there.
Yeah. That's the bitch of it, is there's so many cars where one of them is a pain in the ass or something,
Literally, well, there's like the 2 front ones in a van, right? And it's like, even in the old van, I could just get them, but this one, you can't. You have to take off a wheel to get up there, which just makes it hard for people to make videos to show you how to even do it. So that's, $200 because one of them is a pain. Frustrating.
Yeah, it sucks. My wife used to have a Eclipse, Mitsubishi Eclipse, and I could not even change the tail bulb, the brake light bulb in that thing, because it was so weird. Like the tail lights didn't unbolt and pop off like normal cars. You had to like reach in through the trunk, and it was like super, super weird. I could barely touch the bulb when I like reached in, and yeah, I had to take it somewhere to change a damn taillight bulb one time when we had that car.
That's okay. Back in the day, back in the Votech days, we had a guy come in with a Chevy Vega with a V8 in it. He goes, "Yeah, I'm here for my tune-up." Well, okay, hey, V8 Vega, no big deal. Let's go in there and rock it out. Yeah. How are we supposed to get back to the last two plugs on the other side? We're looking. There was no way to get in there. There was just zero room. So we actually went to the GM.
They modified it, put a way bigger engine in as opposed to.
No, the Vegas. Some of the Vegas did come through with V8s in them. It was a special order, but you could do it. Well, here, unbeknownst to us, GM when they manufactured those, your first 5 tune-ups, GM paid for because you had to pull the motor. You had to go under. You had to go under. Yep, you had to go under. You had to take the motor mounts out. You had to jack the motor up so you can get in there to get the plugs out the backside. That was as bad as when the S10 Blazers first came out. They had one come in for an oil change, and these guys are sitting there going, "Okay, well, we can see the oil filter. How in the hell are you supposed to get to it?" Couldn't get a wrench from the top, couldn't get a wrench from the bottom. Somehow, I don't know how, but somebody managed to flip the flap up on the wheel well. You go, "Hey, here, you can get at it this way," but we can't get a wrench on it. Well, here GM actually made the vehicles. They released the vehicles, and you have the oil filter caps now. They weren't around then. There was no way you can get that filter off without an oil filter cap. Well, they didn't manufacture the caps yet. They didn't make the tools yet. So I was like, okay, well, I guess this filter isn't getting changed.
You just drive a screwdriver through it with a hammer.
No room. Yeah, that's what we were gonna do. It's a lot of times that's what you have to do for new vehicles in their first oil change, because they zap them down with a machine and they don't oil the rings.
Yep.
But yeah, we couldn't even get in there with a screwdriver. There's no room because it's actually like flush with the block. It's like, yeah, okay.
That sucks. So, anybody else have anything going on? Kids, you got anything going on?
I gotta be to work in about 6 hours.
That sucks.
Well, I gotta leave in about 6 hours, I should say.
So, if you don't get to 1,000, are you still going to go to? Are you going to go to SHOT Show?
Oh, I'll be there some way, shape, or form.
Okay.
And I have some other things in mind to do too. We're not in any way, shape, or form giving up. There are other avenues to explore. So don't give up hope. If you're going to be in Vegas, look for me. You'll probably see me. Okay. I'll have the chicken suit on. So at least they
do it.
Yeah.
Dead Horse, Glimtech, you got anything going on you want to plug?
Nothing I can think of. Got nothing really coming up. I finally got access to the our steel match videos, so I may actually depending on how things go, I may actually post a video this week, maybe.
That's cool.
Or maybe not. Yeah. Depends on how I look.
Yeah, let us know. She's going to go as my emotional sport chicken or snob.
Oh, I may have to help him get there because it'll be his first commercial plane flight. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Fancy pants.
Well, you're shilling for all those places. You get those perks now. Pretty soon he'll have his own private plane. He'll just be jet setting around.
I think I remember my first plane flight. I think I was 8.
Dead Horse, you got anything going on?
No, but I'll just tell everyone to sub to Gizzard Gary, and then also repost it on your social medias, on whatever social media your book face and grinder and all that.
Appreciate it.
G, you got anything else to plug?
Individual freedom and liberty. This is a great time to be part of stuff. There's lots of stuff to be part of.
You know it.
Oh, hey, speaking of individual freedom and liberty, I actually saw 2 of the bigger channels actually do videos today on the 2A rally.
Yeah, it's been there's been a lot of talk about it. It seems like it's really cool. I wish I could get down. That'd be awesome to get down there. It's just I think it's going to happen.
I'm hoping there's going to be a whole slew of people there.
I hope so too. And I mean, Ghost put out a video talking about, saying how some people are say, oh, is it going to be successful? Is it not going to be successful? I think just the fact that it's happening makes it, and with the amount of talk that it's got already, it's successful. Users saying, how many of you are going to the rally? I'm probably not. Gizzard, are you going to be able to go to it?
Yeah, I got to work.
Yeah.
If it had been a week later, I could have possibly done it, but no.
Yeah. Back up to 21 watching. Guess who doesn't care? I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I'm not staying going. I'm done. This 20 rule sucks. It's a pain in the ass.
Over and under and done.
Yeah. It's all right. Net Flutter saying, ever tried making pupusa? I don't remember what pupusa is. Can't remember what that is.
It's a little bit more puffy than a tortilla, but it's not pita bread. But it's between pita bread and a tortilla, and then they put like sauerkraut kind of pickled something shredded on there, and then some kind of shredded pork or something disgusting, and then something else. They make ones with cactus or something. So then they give them to you open face, like what's that called? A tostada?
Right.
I think, or like an open taco, an open face taco sandwich. Excuse me. And then
there you go.
And then that's what they give you. And then they give you something else on the side, I think, traditionally. So it's a little bit thicker. There's another thing that's got a very similar bread. I'm trying to think of now. Anyway, yeah, it's a little breadier than a tortilla, and it's breadier than definitely breadier than a pita bread. How pita bread is almost like a soft cracker with nothing inside. Right. Imagine a pita that was full, like that was actually full of bread.
Cool.
No, but anyway, yeah, like I said, I know John from Gun Collective. He's going to be up there because he's actually speaking.
Yeah, I saw a list of 20 speakers today. It seems like it's going to be a cool event, and I'm hoping. I'm hoping that enough people are live that we can all listen into the speakers. You know what I mean? Fry bread.
Don't have to be a board. It's a lot like fry bread, but I think a fry bread isn't fry bread poured? Well, I guess that shit must be poured too, but I don't think so. I think it's formed. Fry bread I think of as poured, right? Like a pancake batter?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a pre-leavened, pre-cooked leavened bread.
Like a biscuit smushed down and cooked?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure fry bread is poured like more like a cornbread pancake hybrid, where pupusa, I bet you, is more like a tortilla, where it's a little piece of bread dough smushed into a tortilla.
Maybe, yeah.
That's probably a difference in the way they come out. What is pita bread? Pita bread is a ball of dough smushed. It's not
pita
poured.
Is
pita is poured onto a concrete brick, right? Like in traditional ladle and poured on.
Mm-mm. No, pita is like a thick tortilla, and then when you bake it, it puffs.
But I mean, it comes from dough. It doesn't come from batter.
Right, it's a dough. Right.
Okay. Right.
Is it like naan? Naan bread is, yeah, probably. Naan is a lot like naan is very similar to pita. It's a dough.
It is.
Yeah, naan is a dough, but they make naan in a very specific way. They actually have these like round pits, fire pits, with and they're block or whatever. I don't know what they're not ceramic coated, I don't think, but they actually take the dough and they slap it in there against the side of it, and it sticks and it cooks. It's really, really cool. It's a really neat process. It's very different than anything else, that you see. It's almost like if you.
But it is.
Go ahead.
The pupusa is similar to the naan compared to tortilla, because naan has a little more meat.
I would think so. Yeah. I mean, the way you were talking, it sounds like it's kind of more like naan than it is anything else. And pita is, I think, similar but thicker. And then when it bakes and it gets puffed up, you just don't pop the bubbles. When they do naan bread, it bubbles up there too, but it's like not one big bubble. It's usually a bunch of like
pancakes,
quarter size. Yeah, it'll be like, or even bigger bubbles. The bubbles will be like the size of like a nickel or something.
Well, but that's like I go to Mediterranean. Whenever I can't find a vegan place when I'm traveling, I end up defaulting to Mediterranean, whatever. And then I'll go to Indian, because there's almost always an Indian, and I can find something there. But Mediterranean, there's all kinds of crazy Mediterranean options, right? And that's where I'll find differences in naans and in pitas and stuff. And sometimes it's like, dang, I wish I lived here. Like, this is some of the coolest pita bread I've ever ate, right? And there's nothing you can do. You could buy like a stack of 12. That's about all you can do. Mm. But, they just get in a cool way or something. What's the African one? Or no, what's that one food that everybody just eat with your hands? The African food. Cambodian? No.
Well, oh shit.
There's some kind of food that you get from Africa though that comes with it. You serve it on a big piece of bread, and that's and
you use the bread to actually like just dip and scoop and.
You rip it. Yeah, it's literally the plate is bread, and you just kind of rip it. Yeah. Poke it in there.
That's a lot like naan too. That's a lot like naan bread, and it's probably cooked pretty similar. It's probably supposed to be cooked on that.
It's like a pancake. It's cooked that way, but it's a pancake batter for sure. Tons of little holes in it. It's almost like eating a tortilla mixed with a English muffin. I'll think of it country when I'm not thinking of it, but I'm sure you've eaten it before. Where you put your hand. Nigerian. Is that what it is?
No. I don't know. Ethiopia has. Is it Ethiopia?
Ethiopian, I think, because it's one of those things that everybody always made fun of it, like Ethiopian food. That's MREs or something. And then
they also have Ethiopia has teff too. It's called teff. It's TEFF. It's a grain, but it's like the smallest grain in the world. It's this really, really tiny little grain that they use. And I think they grind it, but they cook it whole too and use it almost like, eat it almost like quinoa or something like that, you know? It's really tiny. Almost looks like sesame seeds, but it's white. It's really small.
No, I was saying Cambodia because I was thinking Ethiopia because I knew it had a bunch of whatevers and ended in an Aya or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's probably Ethiopia.
Well, no, because that's pretty much the only African food you're going to find in the United States anymore. Is like a type of fresh or whatever.
Yeah. So there we go. We ended with a little food chat. That's what it's all about. Got food and guns. So all right, we're gonna knock it off here. We got 3 of 3. Go ahead and get some damn sleep. Thanks for coming, guys. Hanging out. Had a good time. I think we had some.
Gary reach 1,000 subs.
He's really close. He'll probably be there by morning. So yeah, we're good. I think we can get out of here, and we're not above 20 people, so I think we're all right.
Mine says 22.
No, yours is. There's a lag. There's a lag. So
it's a 3-hour lag.
yeah. There's a big lag. We're ahead of it. So in about a half an hour from now, there'll be way less than 20, and that's how we're gonna work it. That's how we'll work it. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for coming. I think we had some good talk tonight for a little freebie chat here. Something not scheduled ahead of time. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming. See you guys next time.
All right, have a good night. Hail the mighty harbor master.
Thanks, everybody.
Harbor master. There you go.